Fierce Lord. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76, Bodybuilding Technique. Silver Mana Storage Ring, exclusive equipment for mages. Mana storage, or storing mana, was the original term for a magician's magical power, now referred to as mage or mana. The function of a magic storage ring is to store excess mana. When a mage is low on mana, they can directly draw on their stored mana from the stored ring. It effectively restores their own mana, surpassing other methods of mana recovery. However, it's important to note that stored mana can only be used by the mage themselves, not other mages. It's almost impossible for two mages to have the same mana. Joanna appeared in Zhao Yi's mind. Joanna was the chief mage in the territory, and this magic storage ring was meant for her. Fortunately, the origin continent didn't have a tradition of giving rings as tokens of love. Zhao Yi had sensed something was off about Joanna these past few days. When they occasionally locked eyes, she would evade him. Although Zhao Yi lacked practical experience, he had a wealth of theoretical knowledge. Perhaps Joanna was attracted to him. He wasn't the only woman in the territory who admired him. Some even took the opportunity, such as after a victory, to boldly embrace her. Zhao Yi didn't refuse the hug, and afterward, he protected himself well. Body Strengthening Technique, a book whose title suggests it's for physical training, can very slowly improve physical fitness if food is available. The Body Strengthening Technique progresses in difficulty, with the easy sections accessible to all commoners in the territory, while the most difficult sections are only for warriors. Strong warriors need to practice Body Strengthening Technique, while fragile mages need it even more. Even without this Body Strengthening Technique, Zhao Yi's fellow professions would have their own methods of training, though none were as effective as Body Strengthening Technique. In fact, countless versions of Body Strengthening Technique exist on the origin continent, with varying degrees of effectiveness. The one Zhao Yi had drawn was slightly above average, making it suitable for promotion within the territory, especially in schools. Due to copyright restrictions, Body Strengthening Technique cannot be disseminated outside the territory. There are also 2 advancement stones. Yesterday, none of the 3 treasure chests contained any, but today, 2 of the 4 treasure chests contained any. The territory now had another first-level archer, and Zhao Yi's promotion to the 2nd level would be unimpeded. After confirming his drawn cards, Zhao Yi stood up and left the tent, heading towards the Lord's residence. As he walked, he used the Platinum card, Wind, Forest, Fire, and Mountain skill book, to learn the Legion skill, Wind, Forest, Fire, and Mountain. Zhao Yi now possessed 3 Legion skills, and with these skills, the soldier's strength was significantly enhanced. Returning to the Lord's residence, as Cece and Elliot took their seats, the 3 of them quickly ate breakfast before discussing the day's affairs. The first and most important matter was the territory's promotion today. The primary responsibility lay with Elliot, as the army was needed to defend the main city against the incoming undead and secure the territory's promotion. All 3 of them expressed confidence in the territory's military, but they still needed to make preparations. They needed to develop several plans so they could quickly adapt to changing circumstances and avoid unexpected disruptions. The second priority was the establishment of the territory's 4th subsidiary village. The promotion couldn't be delayed. Zhao Yi's original plan was to build a satellite village in 2 days. A small number of player territories could complete a satellite village in a single day, but Zhao Yi's territory still needed careful planning, so building one in 2 days was considered relatively quick. New satellite villages could be established outside the current territory, but within the boundaries of a first-class Viscount's territory. This offered significantly greater flexibility. Today, during the day, they could build a road there, even conducting some infrastructure work at the side of the satellite village. Tomorrow, once the territory was promoted, they could quickly establish the satellite village. The third thing was the school. Within a day, schools in Zhao Town, Tishi Village, and the 2nd village were all built. The next step was installing desks, chairs, and blackboards, and, most importantly, enrollment. All eligible children in the territory, regardless of gender, were required to attend school. Boys and girls were assigned separate classes, and teachers were recruited by gender, with male teachers teaching boys and female teachers teaching girls. In indigenous cities, Ordinary schools were divided into boys and girls schools, and students were taught not only literacy and arithmetic, but also poetry, music, painting, history, etiquette, and more. The schools in Zhao Yi's territory only provide basic education, while the education in the indigenous cities is elite. Because education in the territory is still in its infancy, the current schools are merely elementary schools, teaching literacy, arithmetic, physical education, and, at most, general knowledge. In the future, there will be middle schools and even universities, offering a wider range of knowledge. With everything finalized, the only thing left is recruitment. Today's recruits will all be professionals, with a few officials and merchants at most, no civilians. The main reason is that the territory's population has reached its cap of 10,000. The larger the population of the main city, the more undead attacks it faces, and the greater the pressure on the troops defending it. This is especially true on the night of the territory's promotion, when the combined number of 3 waves of undead will almost equal the main city's population. However, under normal circumstances, a larger main city population is not a problem. With just over 180,000 points, 40,000 are needed to advance to the first Viscount, leaving 140,000 for professional recruitment. After discussion and calculation, including the recruitment scroll obtained from the treasure chest, the total recruitment is 30 archers, 30 shield warriors, 30 lancers, 1 heavy cavalry, 19 cavalry archers, 20 assassins, 2 mages of each of the 5 classes, 10 total, 4 priests, 3 officials, and 3 merchants, for a total of 150. This includes 10 Tier 1 archers, 10 Tier 1 shield warriors, 10 Tier 1 lancers, 7 Tier 1 cavalry archers, 10 Tier 1 assassins, 1 Tier 1 mages of each of the 5 classes, 5 total, and 1 2-star officer and merchant. After the recruitment is complete, the estimated remaining points will be 2,611. The number of assassins and knights recruited will increase, with Tier 1 classes accounting for a significant portion. This is not only because assassins and knights are needed for garrison formations, but also to eliminate liches far from the battlefield and to attack other players' territories. The assassins' reconnaissance and assassination skills were utilized. Even if a knight couldn't mount a horse and go into battle, he could abandon his mount and serve as a warrior or archer. Recruiting a rank 0 archer required 300 points, while recruiting a knight required 500 points. This was a significant difference in points, despite the fact that cavalry archers had a significant advantage over archers of the same rank. The final recruitment details were finalized, and the meeting concluded. The 3 men went their separate ways. Zhao Yi first went to the market to purchase a large quantity of military supplies, then proceeded to the teleportation array to begin recruiting. As the last family emerged from the teleportation array, the total population of the territory had reached 10,785, with the main city alone housing over 7,000. Including the main city's livestock, the total number of undead attacking tonight could exceed 7,200. With just over 1,000 troops in the main city, if the undead arrived all at once, the battle would be difficult. Fortunately, such an eventuality seemed unlikely at this point. This was likely due to the rules of the game world. The rules might change in the future, so it was important to prepare as soon as possible. Chapter 77, Thinking More. With recruitment complete and nothing else to do for the time being, Zhao Yi returned to the Lord's mansion, preparing to train for a few hours. Just as he was about to train, Zhao Yi remembered something, the silver magic storage ring, in his card pack. Using the silver card, Zhao Yi summoned a beautiful ruby ring. After a moment's hesitation, Zhao Yi called his maid, Eve, over. Before Eve arrived, Zhao Yi retrieved a rather delicate wooden box from his storage bracelet and placed the ring inside. Master, Eve is here. Eve approached Zhao Yi and bowed politely. Eve, take this to the mage tower and give it to Miss Joanna. I understand, Master. Eve took the box with both hands, bowed again, and then turned to leave. While Zhao Yi entered his training state, Eve, on the other hand, trod quickly to the mage tower, her heart filled with nervous excitement. The mage tower was the tallest building in Zhao Town, visible from almost everywhere. The tower housed the distinguished mage, and commoners dared not approach. When the mage tower first appeared in the territory, it boosted public morale and public safety. Even as the Lord's maid, Eve had never been near a mage tower, let alone entered one. The gate was closed. Eve reached out her hand and carefully knocked. The next moment, the tower spirit's voice reached her ears. Young lady, what brings you here? Startled by the spirit's voice, Eve looked around, trying to locate the speaker. Young lady, stop searching. I am the spirit of the Mage Tower before you. Please tell me why you're here. After hearing the spirit's explanation, Eve finally settled down and told it her purpose. Tower spirit, I am the Lord's maid. The Lord has asked me to deliver this to Mage Joanna. Master's maid, please come in. Mage Joanna is on the 5th floor. I'll show you the way. With the tower spirit's words, the gates of the Mage Tower opened. Eve cautiously entered the 1st floor, observing her surroundings with curiosity. Seeing other mage masters on the 1st floor, she quickly withdrew her gaze and, guided by the tower spirit, headed for the 5th floor. The mages on the 1st floor showed no sign of anger at the sight of a commoner entering the Mage Tower. A commoner allowed in by the tower spirit was clearly someone special. A closer look revealed the Lord's maid, and some quickly speculated that she was there to see Joanna. Some speculated that the Lord and Joanna had a special relationship, and perhaps Joanna would become the Lord's wife. Zhao Yi's other subordinates considered Joanna a barely suitable candidate for the title of Lord's wife. Joanna was strikingly beautiful and of the right age, but her talent for a wind mage was a bit lacking. A 4-star or even 5-star talent would have been ideal. Of course, these were just their thoughts, and none of their companions discussed them. As subordinates, they couldn't gossip about their lord's private affairs. Eve was ascending the stairs to the 5th floor. Joanna was the 2nd highest authority holder in the Mage Tower, and the tower spirit had informed Joanna of her arrival in advance, giving her ample time to prepare. The last time Zhao Yi visited Joanna, Zhao Yi held higher authority than her, so the tower spirit hadn't proactively informed her. By the time Eve arrived at the 5th floor, Joanna had already finished her training, donned her robes, and straightened herself. There was a knock on the door, and Joanna waved. The door opening with a wave of her hand, calling out, "Come in." Eve respectfully entered the room and saw Joanna sitting in a chair not far away. Eve walked up to Joanna and bowed respectfully before saying, "Lady Joanna, my master has commanded me to give this to you." As she spoke, she held out the small wooden box containing the silver magic ring. Joanna's eyes fell on the box and she took it, wondering what it held. "I have received it. You may leave, as you command, Lady Joanna." Eve excused herself and left the room. Joanna waved the door shut. The opening and closing of the door wasn't controlled by the tower spirit, but by Joanna herself, a mage, who simply waved her hand out of habit. Joanna, now alone in the room, curiously and carefully opened the box. A beautiful ruby ring appeared before her. After briefly admiring the ring, Joanna reached out with her right hand and pulled it from the box. Joanna could sense that this beautiful ruby ring was a piece of equipment. The moment she touched it, she realized it was actually a silver tier magic storage ring. Staffs, robes, storage equipment, and magic storage equipment, these 4 items are coveted by all mages. Magic storage equipment is the most valuable, and few mages even acquire it at the 1st tier, even the lowest level. Now, Joanna, a mere 1st tier wind mage, had obtained a silver tier magic storage ring. Suddenly, Joanna's mind raced with thoughts, even the thought, does the Lord have feelings for me? For a 1st tier mage, the Lord was incredibly generous, gifting her a silver robe, a silver storage necklace, and a silver magic storage ring. These 3 pieces of silver equipment could earn the allegiance of a 3rd tier mage, yet they were all given to a mere 1st tier mage with only 3-star talent. If Zhao Yi knew Joanna's thoughts, he'd be speechless. He gifted Joanna 3 pieces of silver tier equipment not because he had any feelings for her, but because she was the chief mage of the territory, and good equipment would enhance her strength. The reason was simple. Zhao Yi, fearing Joanna might overthink things, had his maid Eve deliver the silver magic ring. Unexpectedly, Joanna's suspicions were overblown. A more open-minded woman would have thrown herself at him with just 1 piece of silver equipment. The added bonus of another piece of silver equipment roiled Joanna's heart, making it impossible for her to concentrate on her cultivation. Zhao Yi filled her mind. What if the Lord asks? Should I accept or not? Accept, not, accept, not. Although they'd only known each other briefly, Joanna felt the Lord perfectly met her criteria. But it was also because their brief acquaintanceship hadn't allowed Joanna, a relatively reserved person, to make an immediate decision. Joanna cried out in distress, clutching her head with both hands. Her voice echoed throughout the room, which was soundproofed so well that the other mages in the tower couldn't hear it at all. Only the tower spirit was left wondering what had happened to this woman. You thought it was going to happen? Actually, it's just the beginning. Chapter 78 Enemy. Zhao Yi finally found time to practice, but his morning practice was interrupted twice. The first time was by Cici, who brought a new map. This map was a simple map drawn by the knights during their horseback rides that morning. The knights even marked suitable locations for establishing villages or towns on the map. Previously, the maps were drawn by assassins, but now that the territory's cavalry has expanded and horses are faster, some reconnaissance missions can be handed over to the knights, and mounts can also be provided for assassins in the future. After Zhao Yi and Cici looked at the map and discussed it, they determined the locations for the 4th, 5th, and 6th villages. Considering the impact of the cemetary's linear deployment, the affiliated villages are separated by a considerable distance, which basically prevents the two undead groups from merging. Near noon, Elliot also came. Lord, patrols have discovered 3 assassin apprentices approximately 2 kilometers northwest of Zhao Town. They refused to surrender and were killed by our marksmen while fleeing. Their bodies have been brought back. Preliminary assessments suggest they are all otherworldly heroes, likely from the first-class barony to the northwest. Zhao Yi's interest peaked. He hadn't even sent anyone to attack this first-class barony, yet they had already sent scouts, sending only 3 assassin apprentices. And yet, even after being discovered, they dared to flee. If they didn't flee, Zhao Yi would at most imprison them, sparing their lives, as both parties were affiliated with the Violet Kingdom. If they fled, they would be considered enemies and executed without issue. However, since the Lord was a player, even if the 3 players didn't promptly relay information back through the system's address book, the player Lord would still be able to obtain some information through the system logs. All 3 bodies had been brought back. Zhao Yi had no intention of examining them, but instead asked, Elliot, are there any storage equipment or other special items on these 3 bodies? No, Elliot replied, shaking his head. Forget it, let's ignore this first-class barony for today. Send first-class assassins to keep an eye on it, especially tonight. See which direction the undead attacking their main city is coming from. Once our territory is promoted, we'll deal with this enemy, as you command. Originally, Zhao Yi had only considered this first-class barony a competitor, but now he saw it as a complete enemy. This enemy must be dealt with as quickly as possible, starting as early as tomorrow night. For a territory about to be promoted to first-class viscount, taking on a first-class barony wouldn't be difficult. The 2 sides were simply on different levels. Remember, the first-class barony has a population of only around 1,200, with a maximum of 200 professionals. This first-class barony wasn't a priority for the player forces behind it, and there were very few first-class professionals there, otherwise they wouldn't have sent only 3 assassin apprentices to investigate. Zhao Yi's territory has a population exceeding 10,000. The main city, Zhao Town alone, boasts 1,000 professionals. He commands over 200 first-tier professionals, potentially outnumbering the entire enemy territory. The disparity in strength between the 2 sides is significant. There's no need to purchase items imbued with a strong aura of life. Simply sending most of his assassins there would likely attract enough undead to overthrow this first-class barony. It's only been 17 days since Blue Star players arrived in the game world, and the divisions between players are becoming increasingly clear. The strong are growing stronger, while the weak are weakening. The powerful player territories are growing rapidly, while the weaker ones are weakening under the undead onslaught. It's unclear how long they can hold out. The first-class barony that sent the assassins to scout Zhao Yi's territory is barely mid-tier in the territory rankings, and still has some spare capacity to deal with the incoming undead. However, this spare capacity is fragile, as the player forces behind them have concentrated the majority of their territory's excess wealth and resources in a small number of key territories. Even so, this first-class barony, whose members were professional soldiers on Blue Star, fared far better than most other independent player territories. Several third-class baronies surrounding Zhao Yi's territory were already on the verge of collapse, so there was no need to intervene. They would likely cede their territory in a few days. Putting aside the enemy's task for now, Zhao Yi finished his morning training after being interrupted by Cici and Elliot. After lunch and a short break, while inspecting Zhao Town, Tim, an alchemist apprentice from Tishi village, personally arrived at Zhao Town with an iron ingot recently smelted at the smelter and presented it to Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi tapped the ingot a few times and, After listening to the sound, couldn't tell whether it was good or not. He immediately ordered the town's best blacksmith to come over. Zhao Yi knew that the iron mine in Tishi village had only been in trial operation for a short time, and with the efficiency of ordinary miners, it would be impossible to mine enough ore for the smelter so quickly. It was likely the efforts of the earth mages in the Tishi village garrison that enabled the iron mine to produce enough ore in a short period of trial mining to start smelting at the primary smelter. Earth mages are skilled in earthwork, building houses, roads, and mining. Their efficiency is significantly higher than that of ordinary people. However, not all tasks can be handled by earth mages. Commoners must pay a substantial fee to have them help build houses. In the territory, earth mages are soldiers under Zhao Yi's command, subject to his orders. Zhao Yi pays them wages, provides them with better equipment, and even allows them to gain skills directly through skilled books and inheritance stones. Therefore, Zhao Yi's use of earth mages to build houses for commoners rarely reduces their loyalty. It was Tim who personally persuaded the Tishi village earth mages to mine. He didn't need a reward from the Lord, simply making the Lord aware of his work was sufficient. Soon, two two-star gifted blacksmiths from Zhao Town came running over and, following Zhao Yi's orders, hammered and tested the iron ingot. Lord, this ingot is suitable for forging farm tools, but it's a bit of a stretch for forging weapons. Zhao Yi nodded, indicating that he understood. This ingot was just fresh from the smelter. As the smelting continued and his skills became more sophisticated, the steel's properties would improve. He could then purchase the steel formula from the market. Zhao Yi was pleased with Tim's efforts and praised him, urging him to continue his efforts and increase steel production as quickly as possible, so that the territory could achieve self-sufficiency. Tim was very humble in response to Zhao Yi's praise, naming the earth mages who were participating in the mining and finally swearing an oath. Lord, the smelter will quickly produce enough steel for the territory. Watching Tim retreat, Zhao Yi lamented that there were still too few alchemists in the territory. With only 2 apprentice alchemists, the smelter couldn't even operate at full efficiency. The territory still lacks an alchemy workshop. If there were an alchemy workshop and enough alchemists, the territory would be able to be self-sufficient, at least in terms of primary explosive arrows. Chapter 79 Joseph Territory, Joseph Village. The lord who lived in Joseph Village was called Joseph. Joseph's father was called Old Joseph, and Joseph's son was called Little Joseph. Of course, these were just customary terms of address among those close to him. Joseph's territory was a first-class barony located northwest of Zhao Yi Territory, belonging to declining, medium-sized nation in western Blue Star. Joseph was an officer in the army, 2 ranks below the bearded Lord Yephim, a mere company commander. Joseph Territory's inhabitants consisted of his soldiers and their families, as well as acquaintances of Joseph or his soldiers. With the lord being a mere company commander, the government naturally didn't prioritize Joseph Territory, and instead constantly exploited it. Despite this exploitation, Joseph Territory managed to grow to the status of a first-class barony, unable to rise to a third-class viscountship. Faced with this exploitation, Joseph, in concert with other colleagues who refused to be exploited, considered refusing to provide supplies and money to the authorities, though his numbers were still limited. If their numbers were larger, even if they returned to Blue Star, the authorities wouldn't dare punish them, lest they unite and overthrow their rule. As a competent soldier, Joseph dispatched his soldiers to scout the area the day after arriving in the game world. He even scouted Zhao Yi's territory and added the individual player lord designation. Joseph paid no attention to individual player lords, believing that individual player territories would eventually collapse. He instead focused on developing his own territory. Over 10 days passed in a flash, and Zhao Yi's territory grew faster than Joseph's. Joseph was just about to conduct another round of reconnaissance of the surrounding areas. To his surprise, this reconnaissance resulted in the deaths of 3 soldiers in an individual player territory to the southeast. Joseph received a dying message from a soldier, and was horrified. A single patrol in the enemy territory consisted of multiple first-class professionals, while his own territory had only 3 first-class professionals combined. If the enemy attacked, his territory would undoubtedly collapse. They couldn't leave. The territory they had painstakingly built was Joseph's foundation, and they couldn't abandon it easily. Asking for help from above? That was ridiculous. There was no way reinforcements would arrive. The nearest territory under the same power was so far away, it was impossible to afford to send reinforcements. Joseph was helpless, concentrating all its efforts on defending Joseph Village. They dared not send any more scouts, fearing the deaths of those who did. Every professional in the territory was valuable. Zhao Yi, who was inspecting the territory, had no idea that the mere killing of 3 0-level assassins by a patrol from below had frightened the Joseph Lord, who Zhao Yi already considered an enemy, into a state of paralysis. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care. The power gap between the two sides was too great. Unless they attacked Zhao Yi's territory, even with their strength, such a move would be extremely difficult. 2 first-level assassins, carrying invisibility scrolls, had already lurked near Joseph Village and would not return to Zhao Town even after dark. Their mission was to wait until nightfall to see which direction the undead would attack Joseph Village. Zhao Yi diligently inspected Zhao Town, inside and out, focusing particularly on the 4 defense lines outside the town. As night fell, most of Zhao Town's professionals gathered at the first line of defense, with 3/4 on the southern front. The remaining personnel were divided into 3 teams to defend the eastern, western, and northern lines. The undead army generally attacked from the south, the frontal battlefield, but there were also surprise attacks from the flanks and even from behind. Some assassins were stationed on the periphery, their purpose being to proactively detect any changes in the undead army. Another 8-man first-class assassin team had been deployed southwest along the undead army's path. Their mission was to eliminate the Lich, ideally before the battle began, to relieve pressure on Zhao Town. In the forum, today's official announcement of promotions to first-class Viscounts was several times higher than yesterday's. The leaderboard reveals that 138 territories were promoted to first-class Viscounts yesterday. This was because a portion of these 138 territories crossed the river first, allowing them to gauge the depth of the river for the following territories. This allowed more powerful territories to choose the promotion the next day. Whether a territory was promoted earlier or later didn't significantly increase the power of the two groups, especially since the vast majority of these territories belonged to a single-player faction. With the support of these backers, a significant increase in territory strength is easy. All it takes is a willingness to spend. Transporting personnel via teleportation arrays costs a fortune, as does purchasing explosive arrows, alchemical bombs, spell scrolls, and more. The accumulated wealth of player factions is enormous, but it can't be invested solely in a single territory. Currently, no matter how powerful a player territory is, it has its limits. They can't put all their eggs in one basket, they invest in multiple, prioritized territories. The powerful Chen state, for example, is simultaneously focusing on cultivating hundreds of territories. The Chen state's rise in power has led to a coalition of official factions from many other countries. Zhao Yi wasn't thinking about competing with the major powers for the time being. His current goal was to reach the top of the territory rankings. Only after achieving that position could he consider the future. Over time, some player territories had already engaged in battle with the undead hordes, and from time to time, former lords whose territories had been destroyed and forced to flee to the indigenous cities would post messages filled with sorrow. The initial lord examination was relatively simple, but not everyone could pass. Many people only knew how to plan, but when faced with real combat, with only 10 minutes to prepare, few could remain calm. Even if wall points were used to recruit the cheapest swordsman or spearman, there was a high chance of losing the battle. After all, the undead were ranked from level 0 to 3, and newly recruited soldiers were all level 0. Undead morale was constant, while human morale would fluctuate. Once casualties mounted and morale collapsed, the remaining soldiers would flee. After the simple lord examination, becoming a true lord on the origin continent presented many more considerations. Lords who recruited only indigenous people were relatively easy. But those who recruited players were at great risk of being betrayed by their own recruits. Initially, over 100 million players passed the Lord assessment. By now, the number of Lord players has dwindled by a quarter, and under the nightly attacks of the undead, the decline will continue, especially among a large group of individual player lords. Of course, as player territories advance, bordering one another, and further advancements occur, conflicts between player lords naturally arise. While it's perfectly normal for them to harm their compatriots, they're even more ruthless against outsiders, and the number of player territories will rapidly decrease. Chapter 80 Accidents and Surprises. An hour and a half after nightfall, Lu Zai, a first-level assassin hiding in a mound of earth, finally spotted the first wave of undead knights, over 1,000 of them. This massive cavalry force slowly advanced towards Zhao Town. Lu Zai, too close to the undead army, didn't move. He wasn't tasked with reporting military intelligence. His mission was to assassinate the Lich commanding the undead army alongside his 7 companions. Although his time under the Lord's command was brief, Lu Zai firmly believed that the Lord could lead the army to annihilate all the incoming undead. This was a conviction born from countless battles. Under the Lord's leadership, they would be invincible. About half an hour later, the second wave of undead appeared within Lu Zai's sight. What is that? Lu Zai suddenly noticed something peculiar among the second wave. He thought he was seeing things, but upon closer inspection, it was the Lich. The Lich hadn't accompanied the third wave of undead, so how could it be among the second? Lu Zai was deeply puzzled. Could 2 Liches appear tonight, commanding the second and third waves of the undead respectively? Regardless, if a Lich appeared, they would seek an opportunity to eliminate it. That was the right thing to do. Lu Zai wasn't the only one who spotted the Lich in the second wave of undead. Other first-level assassins tasked with eliminating the Lich also began to spot it. The first-level assassins closer, fearing detection, had already used invisibility scrolls. Those farther away immediately set out, concealing their presence and quietly following the second wave of undead, looking for an opportunity to eliminate the Lich. When the second wave was still 2 kilometers from Zhao Town, the Lich and the dozens of first and second level undead guarding it halted. Coming from the same cemetery, the Liches knew the humans there were extremely dangerous. Undead, including the Lich, who attacked them had little chance of returning alive. The Lich who had returned alive didn't return the next day, and the Lich who went back again didn't dare approach. Now, precisely because of the Lich's fear, the assassins had an opportunity to kill the Lich. As the assassins approached the Lich's area, within 3 seconds, 3 high-level explosive arrows were fired at the Lich. The Lich, completely absorbed in commanding the undead army, reacted slowly to the danger and was instantly killed by the 3 high-level explosive arrows, along with at least half of the Lich's guards. The surviving guards, even those severely wounded, instinctively advanced towards the nearest sign of life without the Lich's command. The first-level assassins, who were able to conceal their presence effectively, were completely undetected by the undead. On the battlefield of Zhaozhen, the battle hadn't yet begun, and the undead army was advancing steadily. The next moment, with the Lich dead, the undead lost their restraints and, acting according to their instincts, charged madly towards Zhaozhen. What's going on? Zhao Yi wondered. Why had the second wave of undead changed so drastically? Was it a new tactic of the Lich? Zhao Yi had never expected that the Lich commanding the second wave of undead would be eliminated by the first-level assassins. The accident happened, but thankfully it was a minor one, and one that benefited Zhaozhen. The reckless undead were much easier to eliminate. 20 minutes after the first-level assassins eliminated the Lich, a third wave of undead appeared in Luxi's sight. Luxi searched everywhere but couldn't find the Lich. Could it be disguised as another undead? This had happened once before, and the first-level assassins knew it, so they continued their patient search among the third wave. However, even after the third wave passed, they still hadn't found the Lich. They found it hard to believe that the Lich could be so well disguised as to elude even these first-level assassins. Luxi had a small hypothesis. Could there be only one Lich, the same one that had been with the second wave? His guess proved correct. When the third wave of undead arrived outside Zhaozhen, following the archer's initial attack, the undead charged directly towards Zhaozhen. If there was an undead leader, even under attack, the undead army would advance steadily. 20 minutes later, all the undead on the Zhaozhen battlefield were annihilated. Zhao Yi's impression of the 3 battles tonight was that the third wave of undead contained the most first and second tier undead, but the pressure it posed was not as great as the first wave, and he didn't even have to use the mage tower. The second wave of undead seemed to have suddenly lost its leader, and the third wave was completely without a leader. After the battle, 2 first-tier assassins returned to report to Zhao Yi, informing him that they had eliminated a Lich during the second wave, but no Lich was found in the third wave. This essentially confirmed that the only Lich commanding all 3 waves of undead tonight was a single Lich, but this Lich was assassinated by the assassins at the outbreak of the second battle, leaving the third wave without a leader at all. In a surprising twist, the Lich appeared not on the third wave, but in the second, where it was again killed by the assassins, allowing Zhao Yi and his troops to easily eliminate all the undead attacks tonight. After slaying so many undead, the professionals leveled up. Luke, the 2-star archer, became the 4th in the territory to achieve a first-level promotion. The number of professionals who had reached the perfect 0 level had surpassed 70, and the archer profession was no longer the only one. Zhao Yi himself, if nothing unexpected happened, would reach level 16 by tomorrow morning. Tonight's undead extermination had yielded a tremendous amount of experience, and there were also significant bonuses from combat settlements. Without the bonuses, Zhao Yi felt he wouldn't be leveling up as fast as Joanna and Elliot. With the establishment of more affiliated villages, his leveling speed would even surpass that of 5-star professionals. It was a shame that there were only 2 3-star professionals in the territory. Zhao Yi had seen on the forums that a 4-star professional had appeared in a major territory under the Gaoxin Kingdom's official control. They leveled up quickly, and even at a low level, they possessed extraordinary combat power. Such single 4-star professionals should at least be found in platinum treasure chests. There are always lucky people in the world. Perhaps among all the Lord players, there are more than one territory with 4-star professionals, and Zhao Yi's territory was not one of them. This made Zhao Yi one of the many envious and resentful players. He stopped thinking about leveling up and instead focused on the changes to his territory tomorrow and the points he would be collecting. A first-class Viscount territory covered 200 square kilometers. The main city, Zhaoxian, would be upgraded to a first-class town, increasing its area to 400,000 square meters and accommodating 12,000 people. A first-class town was already quite large, comparable to a county town of 10,000 people in ancient Blue Star country. Chapter 81 3-star Pastor. You won 4 battles, you destroyed 8,413 undead, you suffered 0 casualties, battle rating B in Zhao Town, D in Tishi village, D in the 2nd village, D in the 3rd village, points increased by 72%, professional experience increased by 72%, received 1 platinum chest and 3 silver chests. Zhao Yi opened the platinum chest first. After examining all 36 cards within, his eyes lit up. Last night, approximately 7,200 undead were destroyed in the Zhao Town battlefield, so the number of platinum cards in the platinum chest must be even higher. The platinum chest Zhao Yi had just opened contained 5 platinum and gold cards, 6 silver and bronze cards, and 7 iron and ordinary cards. With so many platinum and gold cards, there must be plenty of good stuff. Adding the 3 silver treasure chests, Zhao Yi selected a total of 18 cards, 3 platinum cards, 100 Tier 1 heavy cavalry recruitment scroll, 16 silver longswords, 1,000 Jin of low-grade fire crystals, 3 gold cards, 3-star Tier 1 priest recruitment scroll, garrison warship, intermediate alchemical airship construction blueprints, 5 silver cards, 4 Tier 1 archer recruitment scroll, 4 Tier 0 windmaid recruitment scroll, 5 bronze lance, 99 medium horses, water mist inheritance stone, 3 bronze cards, 4 Tier 0 assassin recruitment scroll, 1 Tier 1 swordsman recruitment scroll, 10 black iron hand crossbows, 4 black iron cards, level 1 advancement stone, Tier 0 archer recruitment scroll, Tier 0 lancer recruitment scroll, 40 pig beasts. Fire crystal is one of the main ingredients in crafting explosive arrows. Low-grade fire crystals used to craft primary explosive arrows. Approximately 1 kilogram of low-grade fire crystal can be used to craft 100 primary explosive arrows, and 1,000 kilograms can be used to craft 100,000. Of course, this doesn't mean that 1,000 kilograms of low-grade fire crystal is worth 100,000 primary explosive arrows. Crafting requires other raw materials and labor. On the market, 1 kilogram of low-grade fire crystal sells for around 20 low-grade magic crystals. Water Mist, a Tier 0 skill for water mages, is a strategically valuable skill primarily used in human combat. It's not very effective against undead, as Water Mist can conceal the presence of living creatures. And most importantly, the 3-star first-level priest recruitment scroll is available. The territory's 3rd 3-star talent, a priest, can effectively boost the territory's combat power and provide healing. After opening 4 treasure chests, Zhao Yi was in high spirits, a smile on his face as he headed towards the Lord's residence. Along the way, the people who saw Zhao Yi were wondering what good news had happened to the Lord, causing him to be so happy. While waiting for Cease and Elliot to arrive, Zhao Yi opened the system dashboard and took a look at the changes to himself and his territory. Name, Zhao Yi, lifespan 24/100, occupation, first class Viscount level 16 archer, 7%, attributes, strength 30, Constitution 30, Agility 30, Wisdom 44, free of tribute points. 8. Charisma. 8. Leadership. 5/352, active skills, rapid fire, multi-arrow volley, tracking arrow, legion skills, unwavering strike, unwavering as a mountain, wind, forest, fire, and mountain, equipment. He was already a level 16 archer, just a few levels away from tier 2. With a level 2 advancement stone, he could easily ascend to tier 2. The maximum number of people under his command had reached 352, but only 5 were actually under his command. Joanna commanded all tier 1 professionals in Zhao Town. Elliot was the garrison commander of Zhao Town. While he nominally commanded all professionals in Zhao Town, he actually primarily commanded the remaining tier 0 professionals in Zhao Town, as well as the garrison commanders of the 3 affiliated villages. There are only 6 skills, 3 for the archer class and 3 for the legion. Zhao Yi isn't particularly interested in archer skills for now, mainly because his weapon is so good, he can just use basic attacks. More legion skills, however, would be preferable. First class Viscount territory, Lord, Zhao Yi, territory area. 200 square kilometers, main city, Zhao Town, a level 1 town, 400,000 square meters, subordinates, Tishi village, second village, third village, population. 10, 785/20,000, military force. 1,352, public sentiment. 78, public security. 76, construction. A level 1 town has 9 subordinate villages. If all 9 are established, you can obtain up to 10 treasure chests per day. Even if the extra 9 treasure chests are silver, the items they contain are extremely helpful for territory development, especially advancement stones, so the more the better. As Zhao Town's area increases, the defenses need to be expanded outward. This was considered when Zhao Town's 4 lines of defense were established. The first line could be dismantled, and all the traps between the first and second lines filled in, with the second line serving as Zhao Town's city wall. However, Zhao Town still needed 4 lines of defense, adding an additional line to the existing 4th. Today, Zhao Town's 4th subsidiary village will be officially established. Building and dismantling another line of defense is a significant undertaking, but for a territory with a population already exceeding 10,000, it's easily manageable. With another wave of recruitment today, the territory could even build 2 subsidiary villages in 2 days. Strength in numbers applies everywhere, but on the origin continent, recruiting more than just civilians is necessary. A critical mass of professionals is also needed, particularly earth mages, who are the primary force in earthworks. Elliot and Cease arrived, and Zhao Yi concluded his thoughts. The 3 of them had breakfast before discussing matters concerning the territory today. Zhao Yi's previous thoughts were all about the important matters the territory would address today. After careful deliberation, the 3 of them made their decisions one by one, and the meeting would officially begin. The last item of each meeting was recruitment. This time, Zhao Yi had a full 370,000 points, allowing him to recruit more first-tier professionals. Recruiting ordinary civilians wouldn't require many points, and Zhao Yi's card pack also contained the silver card, 1,000 civilian recruitment scroll. These 1,000 civilian households included farmers, woodcutters, miners, blacksmiths, carpenters, stonemasons, and other skilled individuals, with farmers inevitably making up the largest number. However, adding 1,000 civilian households to the territory would also require 1,000 professional households. 2,000 additional households, or approximately 9,000 people, would bring the total population to the first-tier Viscount's limit. This approach was a definite no-go. The population would almost double instantly, placing immense pressure on the territory and causing a sharp decline in public morale and public security. An alternative option was to increase the population by 3,000 per day, until the territory reached its population limit in 3 days. Alternatively, they could increase the population by 2,300 people daily, reaching the territory's population cap after 4 days. Both recruitment plans placed little pressure on the territory. The main city, Zhao Town, needed more people to upgrade to a first-level town, and the newly built affiliated villages also needed people. The newly recruited population would be directly distributed. After deliberation among the 3, Zhao Yi ultimately decided to recruit 660 households today, increasing the territory's population by at least 3,000. He would then recruit 440 households daily for the next 3 days, reaching the territory's population cap in 4 days. Today's recruitment was highest, primarily due to the increased points earned from the territory's promotion battle. As long as the territory could sustain it, the faster it expanded, the better, as it would also rapidly increase its strength. After finalizing today's recruitment, Cece left while Zhao Yi and Elliot continued their discussion, attacking the first-class barony in the northwest of the territory. The assassins had determined the direction of the undead attack last night, so they could deploy most of the territory's assassins this afternoon to help the enemy attract more undead at night. If you cannot destroy them in one go, try a few more times, or change your plan. Since you have identified the other party as an enemy, you must eliminate them as soon as possible. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82 Randall. Today's recruitment is exceptionally large. Just for the professions, including the recruitment scrolls obtained today, we need to recruit 60 archers, 60 shield warriors, 60 lancers, 23 swordsmen, 60 cavalry archers, 40 assassins, 20 mages, 4 of each of the 5 elements, and 7 priests, for a total of 330. Beyond the professions, we also need to recruit 20 officials, 20 merchants, 30 teachers, 60 artisans, and 200 farmers, for a total of 330. Among these professions, we need 21st level archers, 21st level shield warriors, 21st level lancers, 1 first level swordsman, 10 first level cavalry archers, 21st level assassins, 8 first level mages, 2 each of fire, water, earth, and nature, 1 first level priest, and 5 each of 2-star talents, officials and merchants. After Zhao Yi went to the market and handed the necessary supplies to Benson and Gino, he waited for a while at the teleportation array until the guides finally gathered and recruitment began. As the teleportation array lit up, families emerged one after another. Among the recruits, Zhao Yi was most interested in Randall, a 3-star priest. Name, Randall. Gender, male. Age, 24. Occupation, level 10 priest. Talent, 3-star priest. Skills, minor wound heal, purify, illuminate, heal. Loyalty, 80. Salary, 5 gold month. With a 3-star priest talent, Randall is the 3rd person in the territory with a 3-star talent, following Joanna and Elliot. Even without using advancement stones, he can ascend to 5th level priest. Randall also had the most inherent skills among Zhao Yi's recruits, possessing 4. However, the illuminate skill seemed to be a bit of a filler. Among priest skills, illuminate is supposed to be the easiest to learn. Learning only illuminate doesn't qualify him as a priest apprentice. After a cordial exchange with Randall, Zhao Yi, guided by an official, escorted the Randall family to a newly prepared mansion. Several mansions in Zhaotown had been prepared in advance, specifically for special talents like Randall who had just joined the territory. Simply put, this was special treatment for special talents. Other professionals and civilians would still be housed in tents for the time being. Most newly arrived residents understood this situation. Only a few would experience a drop in loyalty, usually only a 1 or 2 point decrease. A significant drop in loyalty would indicate something was amiss. After the recruitment process concluded, the original 370,000 points were reduced to 825. Zhao Yi actually wanted to recruit officials with 3-star management talent, but at his current rank, he couldn't. He had to reach at least rank 2 to be able to recruit such officials. 2-star management talent officials are generally capable of managing a town-level city with impeccable management. To manage a small city, a 3-star management talent was required. Zhao Yi wanted to recruit officials with 3-star management talent in preparation for the territory's upcoming advancement to a 3rd-class earldom, with the main city becoming a 3rd-class small city, accommodating a larger population. Unfortunately, recruitment was currently unavailable. Even if recruitment became possible after reaching the 2nd tier, newly recruited 3-star officials couldn't be directly appointed as city governors. If Zhao Yi were to directly appoint a 3-star official as the city governor, how would old guards like Cece and Ian react? Their loyalty would plummet. However, there was another option. 3-star officials could manage a small city with impeccable management, and multiple 2-star officials working together could achieve a similar level of success. The core of a kingdom or empire, for example, relies on the collaborative efforts of dozens or even dozens of 5-star officials to keep a nation running smoothly. The territory had added 660 new households, bringing its total population to just over 100 short of 14,000. The territory's military strength totaled 1,682, with first-tier professionals comprising nearly 1/5, or 314 already. It wouldn't be long before even first-tier professionals could be reorganized and formally formed into the territory's main combat force. At that time, the territory's army will be divided into a main combat force and a garrison force. Both forces will be responsible for defending the territory on a daily basis. When actively engaged in warfare, the main combat force, comprised of first-tier professionals, will be the primary force, with some garrison troops available for support. Currently, there is a shortage of first-tier priests. Of the 42 priests under his command, only 5 are first-tier priests, including the recently recruited 3-star priest Randall. Recruiting a first-tier priest requires a significant amount of points, reaching 30,000, which is enough to recruit 10 first-tier archers. Zhao Yi already has 74 first-tier archers under his command, along with 17 first-tier cavalry archers. Recruiting archers is the most effective way to boost a territory's combat power. Currently, many player territories still prioritize archers, with archers comprising nearly 1/3 of Zhao Yi's army, and some even exceeding half. However, compared to the initial period, the number of player lords who play the archer role has been rapidly declining, primarily due to insufficient funds to purchase explosive arrows, which are consumed excessively in each battle. With insufficient gold, one must shift tactics and train more warriors. Furthermore, swordsmen, shield warriors, and spearmen now cost less points to recruit. Every battle inevitably involves casualties, resulting in lower combat ratings and lower quality treasure chests. Since gold is scarce, players are clearly either ordinary or unlucky, and treasure chests are less important. Zhao Yi, the wealthy, and the territories affiliated with player factions have sufficient gold to maintain their marksmanship. Currently, the territory's focus is still on increasing combat power. Zhao Yi feels that he may need to wait until he is promoted to 3rd-class earldom and earns more points daily before he can recruit a first-tier priest. Currently, he relies on luck to find a first-tier priest recruitment scroll from a treasure chest. The rapid growth of his subjects and the rapid rise in territory strength have given Zhao Yi a sense of accomplishment, and his territory is rapidly expanding. The newly added population is primarily civilians, with approximately 130 households needing to be relocated directly to the 4th village currently under construction. Furthermore, the professionals of the already established 4th village garrison will also relocate their families to the village. As a result, Zhao Town's remaining population is close to 9,000, still some distance from the 12,000 population required for a first-level town. After the 4th village is officially completed today, the territory will simultaneously construct 2 roads tomorrow, building the 5th and 6th villages within 2 days. This pace of establishing tributary villages will allow Zhao Yi to match the pace of tributary village construction at the top of the leaderboard. Compared to other player territories, establishing tributary villages is even more crucial to Zhao Yi. Treasure chests contribute at least 2/3 to the territory's rapid growth, and Zhao Yi also counts on treasure chests to become the primary source of advancement stones. Recruitment concluded, Zhao Yi boarded Jimmy's carriage, escorted by a cavalry squad, and traveled to the 4th village to manually confirm its establishment. Currently, the territory is still relatively small, requiring Zhao Yi to personally travel back and forth to confirm the establishment of tributary territories. Zhao Yi suspects this situation won't last long. Perhaps once the territory is promoted to 3rd-class earldom, things will change, allowing him to confirm the establishment of new tributary villages without leaving his home. Thanks to Celebrity Cave Heaven 121, for the 10,000 starting coins reward. Chapter 83 The Enemy Must Die. In Zhao Town, Tishi Village, and the 2nd village, the impact of free education is rapidly expanding. The school has been built, with desks and blackboards installed yesterday. Textbooks, paper, and pens are also ready. The teachers are in place, and all that's left is for the students to attend. Since yesterday, teachers, led by local officials or clerks, have been visiting every household, primarily to register every child in the household. Once all children are registered, they are divided into classes, and finally, classes officially begin. During the registration process, teachers and clerks often spend a lot of time explaining the free education to parents, leaving them thirsty. There's no other way around it. The common people, who only know how to farm, simply can't imagine their children learning to read and write for free. After repeated confirmation, many people wept with emotion, mumbling endless words of gratitude to the Lord. They clearly understood that it was the Lord who had given their children the opportunity to learn to read and write for free. If the Lord appeared before them, they would kneel down and kiss his boots, a ritual that existed both in ancient Blue Star and on the Origin continent. Even the most clueless commoners on the Origin continent knew that talent changes destiny and reading changes fate. As long as their children had the opportunity to learn to read and write, they wouldn't let it go. Now their Lord was willing to pay for free education for all minors in the territory. His generosity and kindness were beyond their wildest dreams. Having reached this point, they all believed his intentions were genuine and not just a gimmick. Loyalty and public support surged. Of course, there were a few parents, convinced there was a conspiracy, who refused to let their children go to school. They thought there was no such thing as free education. Free education was a sham, and their children's lives were no longer their own. For such situations, coercion was the only option. Parents who dared to prevent their children from attending school would be punished. Fines weren't the only punishment, so corporal punishment and flogging were the most direct. The free education in the territory also raised concerns. Commoners, primarily professionals and other literate individuals, were certainly unprepared. If all minors were required to learn to read and write, the territory would have more literate people. Could the territory afford to provide decent jobs for so many literate people? I'm afraid it's difficult. By then, those who can read will compete with each other, and wages will fall, making it impossible for a family to live comfortably. However, these things are at least 4 years away. Even for minors to learn to read and write, it will take at least 4 years. The territory is changing daily, and who knows how much will change in 4 years. What if this problem is finally solved? Cece and Elliot had privately asked Zhao Yi about this, but Zhao Yi didn't elaborate, saying he'd see what would happen later. The Origin continent and Blue Star are different worlds. The Origin continent harbors extraordinary powers, and Zhao Yi doesn't know what changes universalizing basic education will bring to his territory. It could be good or bad. Universalizing basic education is merely an experiment for Zhao Yi, a Blue Star human, on the Origin continent. Failure is not a big deal. Professionals wield the military power to maintain order, no matter how severe the situation. Zhao Yi's greatest hope is that after universalizing basic education, with a division of labor between professionals and non-professionals, social productivity will increase significantly, which will in turn boost the territory's strength. As afternoon approached, Zhao Yi inspected the area outside Zhao Town. Over 10 Earth mages and nearly 1,000 civilians were working to defend against the undead's attack tonight. The old first line of defense had been dismantled, and the old second line would serve as the new first line. The raised platforms surrounding the old first line would be relocated to the new first line. The traps between the old first and second lines would need to be filled in and leveled. Houses, roads, and crops would then be constructed on this land. Furthermore, a new fourth line of defense would be established outside the old fourth line, with more traps and obstacles both inside and outside. While these ordinary traps and metal fences would be of little use against the first and second tier undead, they would remain for a long time to come, even as the main city's walls grew taller, thicker, and more solid. Before the undead army reaches the defenses, the territory's troops will try to eliminate all second-tier and first-tier undead, even skeleton archers, before giving melee units a chance to kill the enemy. For Zhao Yi, archers are effective against the incoming undead, but not against other human forces. Enemies have already appeared in Zhao Yi's territory. After inspecting the area outside Zhao Town, Zhao Yi and Elliot gathered all the assassins within the town, preparing to deploy them for a mission. Zhao Yi currently has 134 assassins under his command, including 42 first-tier assassins and 92 zero-tier assassins. The 4 affiliated villages each have 6 assassins, and with those out on missions, the total number of assassins gathered before Zhao Yi is less than 100. This requires considering that assassins will be dispatched at night to scout the incoming undead army's movements, as well as an 8-man first-tier assassin team to assassinate the Lich commanding the undead army. After discussion between Zhao Yi and Elliot, they ultimately decided to dispatch a total of 60 assassins, including 20 first-level assassins, to carry out the mission. 2 of these first-level assassins had scouted the enemy territory yesterday, and they would be needed to lead the way on this mission. This mission would be commanded by first-level assassin Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi had joined the territory 3 days ago and was considered a newcomer, but he was a dual 1-star command assassin. Among the assassins recruited before Zhao Yi were those with command talents, as well as 2-star assassin talents, but they had only just reached level 9, while Zhao Yi was about to reach level 11. With his strength, he would serve as captain and command the other assassins, who would all accept his command. After the personnel were confirmed, Elliot officially gave the assassins their mission. By mid-afternoon, you will be conducting a mission outside the territory. It's not difficult. You must travel to a first-class barony to the northwest. Before nightfall, lurk near the only village within its boundaries. As darkness falls, you must reveal your presence to attract more undead. Once the undead approach the village, retract your presence and return to Zhao Town. This concludes the mission. Yesterday, 3 assassins were sent from this territory to stalk us. They were discovered by a patrol and shot while fleeing. They are enemies. Elliot concluded his mission with a brief explanation, ensuring that they were dealing with enemies within their own territory and not to treat them as compatriots. In reality, Elliot didn't need any explanation. The assassins didn't question the mission's rationale and were fully committed to it. However, upon learning that they were enemies, they were filled with rage. The enemy must die. Chapter 84, Fleeing. With about 3 hours left before nightfall, Zhao Yi and his assassins set out. Without mounts, assassins are generally the fastest of all classes. This mission, as Elliot had said, was easy for assassins. As long as they were discreet, they would be hard to detect. The first-class barony they had identified as the enemy was vastly inferior to their own first-class viscount. There weren't even a few first-class professionals among the enemy. Against such a territory, Zhao Yi and his assassins could easily raid it under cover of darkness and eliminate the enemy, especially considering their team numbered a full 20 first-class assassins. However, the assassins knew better. Although they had identified the enemy, they were all on the side of the Violet Kingdom and couldn't engage directly. As long as they followed their superiors' orders, even if they were discovered, the Lord wouldn't face punishment from the kingdom. The only problem was the enemy's weakness. Weakness was their original sin, unable to withstand the onslaught of the undead. A team of 60 assassins advanced swiftly. Meanwhile, in Yos village, Lord Yos refused to let the past day's peace and quiet lull him into a state of reassurance. 3 of his men had been killed, and hostilities had erupted. More importantly, the enemy was clearly stronger, and the situation was clearly not over. Yos repeatedly appealed to his superiors for assistance, demanding, even if not men, at least money or supplies. However, Yos's messages for help only received a response the first time, stating that the money and resources had been allocated to other territories and that there wasn't enough to send reinforcements to Yos's territory. No money, no supplies, no troops. Yos refused to give up and continued his rescue efforts, but there was no response, apparently leaving Yos to fend for himself. Yos approached several of his colleagues for help, and they all agreed to provide either money or resources. However, their territories were being exploited by the higher-ups, leaving them with little money or resources to support. Furthermore, the shipping costs were prohibitive, so Yos simply gave up. Now, Yos could only wait, hoping the enemy wouldn't know the assassins were his, or that they wouldn't attack his territory. But this hope was so slim, everything depended on fate. As time passed, Yasser's resentment towards the higher-ups grew. If it weren't for their exploitation, perhaps Yasser's territory would have already become a third-class Viscount territory, its strength multiplied manyfold, with more first-class professionals, and it wouldn't be as powerless as it is now. The country was truly hopeless. A once great nation had fallen to the state. Many smaller nations in the game world were performing better than their own. Poor performance on Blue Star put the nation on the brink of bankruptcy, and its performance in the game world was even worse. As far as Yasser knew, of the dozen or so territories prioritized for development, only one, despite the vast accumulation of money and resources, had barely achieved promotion to first-class Viscount territory, and it had suffered significant losses in the promotion battle. Of the other prioritized territories, 1/3 were second-class Viscounts, and the rest were third-class Viscounts. If Yasser's territory were in his place, with sufficient financial and resource support, Yasser would be confident that he could compete with the prioritized territories of other great powers. Unfortunately, the group above, driven by their own selfish interests, focused on cultivating the dozen or so lords of the territories, all of whom were related by blood or vested interests. Yasser was merely a small company commander, a victim of exploitation. As another dark night fell, Yasser felt he had finally come to his senses. The territory was his foundation, but he would not perish with it. In this game world, everyone had only one life. Death meant nothing. Even if the territory was lost, one could continue to fight in the indigenous cities. Of course, while there was still a chance, the territory must be preserved. As the night deepened, Yasser had already dispatched assassins to investigate the incoming undead. The territory's population had grown slowly recently, now just over 1,300 people, with professionals comprising just over 1/6. While there were many professionals, only 3 were first tier. Without sufficient funds to develop archer builds, the professionals primarily focused on swordsmen, shield warriors, and spearmen. Despite the numerous traps and obstacles set outside the village, casualties were always present in every battle. Thanks to Yasser's skill, casualties were relatively low under his command. Patiently waiting, the assassin returned to report the situation to Joseph. Seeing the assassin's flustered expression, Joseph sensed something was amiss. "What's wrong? What happened?" Joseph asked hurriedly. "Captain, there are dozens more undead attacking tonight than yesterday. I think I saw liches and second-tier undead. There are over 20 first-tier undead. Can we hold our territory?" The young assassin's voice tinged with tears. He sensed the territory was about to collapse. Although the undead had only increased by a few dozen compared to yesterday, the presence of liches, second-tier undead, and even more first-tier undead would significantly increase the strength of the undead army. "We haven't even advanced our territory, so how could the undead increase so much? Are you sure you're not seeing things?" Joseph's heart began to panic. With the territory's current strength, it was clear they couldn't withstand tonight's undead attack. Joseph then remembered something he had been worrying about for the past day or so. The enemy has struck. On the forum, Yasser had witnessed the shady tactics used by player lords against one another. Using the undead as a weapon was the simplest tactic. His own territory had undoubtedly been stricken. How ruthless the enemy was. As the second and third assassins returned, confirming the extent of the incoming undead, Yasser had already given up the fight and prepared to flee the territory. There was a teleportation array within the territory, allowing him to take it to the indigenous city, but the cost was prohibitive. Even at cost, Yasser couldn't afford to transport everyone in the territory. This was largely due to the harsh exploitation of the higher-ups, who had seized all their excess money and resources. Yasser had little money left, and neither did the other residents. After much deliberation, Yasser made up his mind. He gathered a few of his closest confidants, explained the current situation facing the territory, and then laid out his plan. Leaving his family behind, allowing them to escape on their own. Yasser took a group of up to 110 professionals and used the teleportation array to reach the indigenous city. This was the fairest method Joseph considered. If he had taken his family on the teleportation array, less than 30 families would have been able to travel. However, if he had only teleported the professionals, nearly half that number would have been transported. Sending so many professionals to the indigenous city would have allowed for future development there. More importantly, to demonstrate fairness, Joseph even gave up his own family. Joseph's plan was endorsed by several of his closest associates. Before the undead arrived, the Joseph territory acted swiftly, suppressing any dissenters. Quickly gathering money, over 110 professionals were allowed to depart via the teleportation array. Joseph was the last to leave, glancing around with nostalgia, attempting to memorize everything in the territory. He hated the enemy for their brutality, and even more so, the people above him for their exploitation. If given the chance, he would seek revenge on them. As some professionals departed, the others, carrying their meager belongings, fled the territory in different directions, heading in the direction of the attacking undead. The assassins lurking near Joseph village did not take any action after seeing this scene. The wilderness at night was the world of the undead, and the possibility of these people surviving was slim. Chapter 85, Courtesy First, Then Attack. By the time the assassins returned to Zhao Town, the battle there had long since concluded. Zhao Yi nodded in satisfaction after hearing Sava's report. The enemy had scattered before the undead army arrived. A small number had undoubtedly chosen to escape using the teleportation array. Those who didn't would likely have been killed by the swarming undead in the darkness. The fact that there were still survivors in the enemy's territory was of little concern to Zhao Yi. It was merely a first-class barony, dozens of times weaker than his own, so there was no need to worry. What Zhao Yi truly cared about was the land. With the fall of a first-class barony, a plot of land to the northwest would be unowned. Upon the next barony's promotion, this land would become part of Zhao Yi's domain. He could then explore this land in advance, preparing for future occupation and development. Zhao Yi also had another consideration: the undead attacking the first-class barony and his own domain were not from the same cemetery. This would provide him with more options for establishing next villages after his domain was promoted. At the same time, the dangers were increasing. Zhao Yi and some Blue Star players were worried about a sudden change in the rules of the game, putting the main city and its affiliated villages in extreme danger. So Zhao Yi was already planning something, selling off his currently unused, unimportant, and valuable items for cash. He would then use the majority of his cash to purchase military supplies. He needed to procure large quantities of explosive arrows, offensive spell scrolls, and enchantment scrolls of all levels, ideally with a few alchemical bombs as a last resort. He needed at least enough to sustain the main city and its affiliated villages for 3 battles, the more, the better. The more prepared, the more resilient he was to unexpected events. This was a game for the Blue Star players, but it was also more than just a game, especially since they didn't yet know all the rules. Putting aside his plans for countermeasures, Zhao Yi set his sights on the other player territories surrounding his territory. With his territory promoted to first-class Viscount, it now bordered several other player territories, which blocked his own expansion. Zhao Yi could quickly resolve to destroy Joseph's territory, a traitor that had become his enemy, using a borrowed knife to kill. However, he struggled with other player territories, especially those belonging to fellow Chen players. Furthermore, some weaker territories were already on the brink of collapse. Perhaps tomorrow, or the day after, those territories would become unclaimed. After a brief moment of reflection, Zhao Yi's mind sank into a single word: fight. His territory was constantly developing, and he would encounter more player territories, including those belonging to fellow Chen players. He couldn't stop developing his territory just because of one compatriot. Everyone was vying for territory, developing territories, leveling up, and increasing their power, all driven by the desire to gain greater benefits from the game world. No one was willing to back down, especially the rapidly rising new faction in the forums. These player lords refused to be constrained by their own nation and would attack their compatriots as well. After all, dying in the game world had no impact on Blue Star. This was the prevailing trend among players. And Zhao Yi was determined to compete with the other Blue Star players. After much deliberation, Zhao Yi came up with a preliminary plan. Regarding the territories that were still holding out but blocked his territory, he intended to use diplomacy first, then force. He would first dispatch an elite force, either composed entirely of first-tier professionals or entirely of cavalry, to the enemy's territory to show off their power and deliver a letter from Zhao Yi. Your territory is blocking my territory. To avoid unpleasantness, please move. Relocation would be a huge loss for a lord, but no lord wanted to have a more powerful lord nearby, as their territory would become a prey for the other lord, ready to take a bite at any moment. Lords unwilling to be neighbors with a powerful lord would undoubtedly move as soon as possible. Territories unwilling to move would be dealt with the same way they dealt with Joseph's territory tonight. Territory relocation was a newfound rule of the game for Blue Star players. As long as a player lord's territory survived, they could relinquish it by spending a certain amount of points and then acquire territory of the same level from another unclaimed territory in the indigenous nation, thereby re-establishing their own territory. However, when relocating a territory, one cannot take away any buildings from the original territory. Everything must be started anew in the new one. Furthermore, the new territory must be close to the old one, and the people must follow. Of course, one can also abandon all people, which means starting over from scratch except for the territory rank and title. Zhao Yi felt that he had been kind enough to the other Blue Star players, using courtesy first and then force to give them a chance, while other players might not even give them a chance. This was mainly because the other territories were not hostile to him, as the hostile Joseph territory had been annihilated immediately. After finalizing the plan, Zhao Yi summoned Elliot to discuss the matter further. The newly established fourth village was to be reinforced by others. After learning the details of the Lord's plan, Elliot wholeheartedly supported it and felt even more honored to be able to serve such a lord. Using any means necessary to deal with the enemy was necessary, but using the same means against others was not advisable. Elliot did not want to serve a lord who would resort to such means. Elliot knew some people who would resort to any means necessary, sacrificing lives for victory, even their own subordinates if necessary. Such unscrupulous individuals should be steered clear of. In Elliot's eyes, Zhao Yi was a benevolent and wise lord. Unlike other, indigenous, lords, he used Tier 0 professionals as cannon fodder. Even when weak, he wouldn't send weak professionals into battle against the undead. Instead, he invested heavily in explosive arrows, spell scrolls, enchantment scrolls, and other items to annihilate the undead, greatly minimizing casualties on his side. As for how he treated civilians, Elliot didn't care. The Lord's strategy of using courtesy before force was common practice on the Origin continent. Before the undead plague, it was the noble way. When nobles from two neighboring nations clashed over a matter, they would first send messengers to contact each other. If words couldn't resolve the conflict, they would agree on a time to resolve it through force at the border. This could involve a few professionals from each side dueling, or each side would gather an army and engage in battle. If one side was defeated and the lord was captured, they would not kill him, but instead send people to the other side's territory to redeem him with a ransom. On ordinary days, nobles were rarely killed. Only when two countries were at war and wanted to annex the enemy's territory would a large number of nobles be killed or injured. Chapter 86 Alchemist. A new day dawned, and as the battle results page appeared, Zhao Yi received a platinum chest and 4 silver chests. Previously, Zhao Zhen had slain over 7,000 undead on the battlefield, bringing the number of platinum cards in the chest to 5. Last night, Zhao Zhen had slain just over 3,000 undead, leaving only 2 platinum cards in the chest. Of the 2 platinum cards, only one was chosen by Zhao Yi, a platinum tier storage ring with 100 cubic meters of storage space, 10 times the storage capacity of Zhao Yi's current gold tier storage bracelet. The territory wasn't so short of money right now as to sell off its storage equipment, even a valuable platinum tier storage ring. Zhao Yi used the card to summon the storage ring and placed it on his finger. The platinum tier storage ring wasn't Zhao Yi's biggest treasure chest find this time. The biggest prize was the silver card, first level alchemist recruitment scroll. With a primary smelting plant underway, Zhao Yi, with only 2 alchemist apprentices, was planning to recruit a first level alchemist from the indigenous city. Unexpectedly, a first level alchemist recruitment scroll appeared directly from a treasure chest. With a first level alchemist in charge, even though the primary smelting plant lacked an alchemist apprentice, its operating efficiency could reach over 80%. The only problem now lay in iron ore mining. Besides the storage ring and the alchemist recruitment scroll, there was also a water-attributed golden staff he planned to sell, 7 cards, and recruitment scrolls for various classes, 2 advancement stones, 1 level 1 and 1 level 2, as well as lower-level equipment, materials, and potions. He drew a total of 22 cards. As the collection grew, Zhao Yi's vision grew. He only cared about advancement stones for bronze and iron cards, focusing his attention on cards above silver. However, as he gained more treasure chests, he would spend more and more time opening them and drawing cards. The other player lords didn't mind, simply opening treasure chests to test their luck and draw cards, but Zhao Yi had to examine each card individually, which was quite cumbersome. However, this was what made Zhao Yi stand out from the crowd of individual player lords, so he had to continue, even if it took longer. After breakfast, at the 3-person meeting, after further deliberation, Zhao Yi decided to temporarily assemble a cavalry unit of 100 men. These 100 men would all be light cavalry, which moved faster. The 27 first-level archers under his command would be incorporated into this unit. Heavy cavalry would fill in if archers were insufficient, and heavy cavalry would be used as light cavalry if they didn't wear armor. They would also be equipped with 3 first-level wind mages, 3 first-level earth mages, and 3 first-level priests, for a total of 100 men. The wind mages would enhance the cavalry's movement speed, while the earth mages and priests would be added to prevent the outbreak of combat. All 9 mages would be mounted, and as first-level mages, they knew how to ride, and Zhao Yi himself was also learning. The appearance of such a cavalry unit in those small fiefdoms, not even viscounties, could easily shock the player lords. This cavalry unit reveals the strength of the territories behind it. When a letter arrives from the opposing lord, demanding a move, the lord must make a choice. Zhao Yi's territory will likely take 10 days to advance to an earldom, at least until Zhao Yi reaches the second rank, enabling him to recruit second-rank professionals and obtain a second-rank professional recruitment scroll from a treasure chest. With the addition of second-rank professionals, the territory's strength will be further enhanced, allowing it to withstand the potential third-rank undead that may appear during the promotion battle. Even with the support of the powerful forces behind them, the territories at the top of the leaderboard have no plans to advance in the short term and are instead accumulating strength. Assembling cavalry units now to deliver relocation notices to surrounding player territories will also free up space for these territories. Furthermore, player territories can't be relocated on a whim. At least the player lords need time to find a new home and relocate. By the time all the surrounding player territories have moved, Zhao Yi's territory will be close to being promoted. Elliot was assigned the task of temporarily organizing a cavalry unit. After the meeting, Zhao Yi's first two tasks were the same as usual. First, he went to the market to place his items for auction, then handed the list of purchased military supplies to Benson and Gino. After finishing the market work, he began recruiting. By this time, the guidance staff had almost all gathered. Today's recruitment was 2/3 of yesterday's. Yesterday, the territory added 660 new families, and today, 440 new families will be added, 220 of which are professional families. Using recruitment scrolls and points, Zhao Yi recruited 40 archers, 40 shield warriors, 40 lancers, 40 horse archers, 20 swordsmen, 20 assassins, 15 mages, 3 of each of the 5 types, and 5 clerics, for a total of 220. This included 10 first-class archers, 10 first-class shield warriors, 10 first-class lancers, 10 first-class horse archers, 10 first-class assassins, 2 of each of the 5 types, 10 of the 5 types, and 1 first-class cleric. After the recruitment was completed, the territory's total population reached 15,877, with a total of 1,902 soldiers, including 375 Tier 1 professionals. With the completion of the recruitment, Zhao Yi's territory's ranking on the leaderboard advanced by at least 200, though its ranking would decline as other territories completed their recruitment efforts. In fact, Zhao Yi's territory's ranking had been steadily rising in recent days. This was primarily due to the fact that the residents of the previous territories were primarily players, and the Tier 1 professionals among them weren't already owned, making them difficult to recruit. This allowed players who had reached Tier 0 in their combat professions to advance through the use of advancement stones. However, the value of advancement stones continued to rise, making large-scale acquisition difficult. Player factions couldn't arbitrarily bid in blue star currency. If they didn't pay, their credibility would be lost, and paying would severely impact their economy. While some player factions held a large number of advancement stones to ensure their supply to key subordinate territories, other player factions were forced to reduce the number of territories they prioritized, allowing Zhao Yi's territory to steadily rise in the rankings. Alchemist Lead, reporting to the Lord. Alchemist Lead, welcome to join us. I swear to serve you until death. Lead, you've arrived just in time. There's a primary smelting plant in the territory that needs you to run it. Lord, leave it to me. I guarantee it'll be no problem. Okay, your family will be settled in Zhao Town for now. The smelting plant is very close, so you can commute there every morning and evening. There's a mage tower in Zhao Town, and you can enter it for training. Hearing the Lord's words, Lead's loyalty skyrocketed. As he emerged from the teleportation array, he spotted the towering mage tower not far away. An alchemist and a fire mage, he desperately wanted to train in the mage tower, even hoping to own one of his own someday, however slim that hope. After having the officials escort Lead and his family away, Zhao Yi took a look at Lead's information. Name, Lead, gender, male, age, 28, occupation, first level alchemist, level 10 fire mage, talent, 1-star alchemy, 2-star fire mage, 1-star alchemy talent, 2-star fire mage talent, not bad. Chapter 87, Seeking Help. Ding Wenlin's second-class barony lies southeast of Zhao Yi's territory. Following Zhao Yi's promotion to first-class viscount, the two territories now border each other. But as the lord of a second-class barony, Ding Wenlin hadn't yet realized this. As a mere individual player, Ding Wenlin was already preoccupied with his territory. Back on Blue Star, Ding Wenlin was a junior, enjoying novels and games, constantly dreaming of the end of the world, the resurgence of spiritual energy, or even a transmigration. Then, the game world arrived, and a god pulled all of Blue Star's humanity into it. Ding Wenlin successfully passed a Lord assessment and arrived on the Origin continent as a Lord. At that time, Ding Wenlin imagined himself poised to dominate and become the most powerful Lord on the continent. However, the ensuing developments dealt him a heavy blow. As an individual player Lord, and a young man open to new things, Ding Wenlin refrained from rashly recruiting Blue Star players as subjects. By now, Ding Wenlin's territory contained no other players, save his parents and close relatives from 2 families. All of whose subjects were indigenous. Without any other players causing trouble, Ding Wenlin's territory had established itself on the Origin continent within a few days. However, Ding Wenlin soon realized he wasn't the dominant force. Too many other territories, having established themselves on the Origin continent, had already begun advancing, while his own was too weak to even dare advance. God bless me with something good, Ding Wenlin prayed every time he opened a treasure chest. He even wanted to buy a pair of red shorts, supposedly to increase his luck. Unfortunately, Ding Wenlin wasn't a European king, but fortunately, he wasn't a poor king either. Seeing the rapid growth of the territories under the larger powers, Ding Wenlin considered joining a different player faction. He posted numerous posts on the forum, but received no responses. With so many Blue Star player lords on the Origin continent, who would accept Ding Wenlin's ordinary territory? Ding Wenlin gave up, praying daily for treasure chests to yield goodies. He patiently developed his territory, and it took him nearly 10 days to finally upgrade his territory to a second-class barony. The promotion to first-class barony seemed elusive. Under frequent undead attacks, Ding Wenlin's territory suffered casualties daily, but thanks to his dedication, he managed to hold on, his strength growing with each passing day. Ding Wenlin figured that if he continued like this, his territory would eventually be promoted to Viscount. He no longer held any grand ambitions, simply raising himself and his parents by several dozen levels would give him and his parents a few decades of extra lifespan upon returning to Blue Star. But then, something unexpected struck. 100-man cavalry unit barreled toward the only village in Ding Wenlin's territory. The guards spotted them and immediately sounded the alarm. As the bell rang, Ding Wenlin and his professionals gathered. "Lord, a cavalry unit is attacking," the soldier reported. "Cavalry? Where did they come from?" Ding Wenlin's face was filled with nervousness. Logically, the enemy should only be the undead right now, so why would the human cavalry arrive? Were they attacking his territory? Ding Wenlin's territory was only a second-class barony. Although the population limit was 600. The actual population was only a little over 350, with only about 40 professionals. The incoming enemy was estimated to be around 100 strong. The disparity in numbers, and even in rank, meant that if they were truly enemies, the territory would be destroyed. Ding Wenlin had already considered escaping through the teleportation array with his family. As the cavalry approached, Ding Wenlin calmed down a bit, sensing that anyone here belonged to the Violet Kingdom and wouldn't attack his territory so openly. Although he had given up on escaping, Ding Wenlin still had his professionals ready for battle. The archers had already knocked their bows. The cavalry drew closer, and when they were only about 200 meters from the territory, Ding Wenlin was once again surprised. This cavalry unit didn't approach the village again, but instead galloped around it, seemingly showing off its might to the villagers. It wasn't just a matter of seeming, but a display of force. Ding Wenlin finally understood. This cavalry unit was sent by a powerful player lord nearby to show off their power. After the cavalry had circled the village several times, a letter urging him to move was shot towards him. A soldier picked up the letter and brought it to Ding Wenlin. After reading the contents, Ding Wenlin felt like crying. It seemed his territory was near a powerful lord's territory, blocking the path to the lord's territory. This was clearly a case of courtesy before force. If he didn't move, the lord would surely attack his territory. Ding Wenlin's first thought wasn't to move, nor to hold on to his place. He wanted to join the lord, even if it meant giving up his lordship and becoming his subordinate. Following the lord's side would guarantee safety, ease his workload, and perhaps even speed up his leveling. Ding Wenlin immediately took pen and paper and wrote a letter of surrender, then shot it with his bow. Although the letter was from a noble addressed to his lord, Willie, The commander of the first-rank command archer cavalry could first examine the contents and make a decision based on what he had read. Willie opened the letter and saw that it was from a minor noble who wanted to surrender to his lord. This was not a matter Willie could decide, so he dispatched 2 cavalrymen to deliver the letter back to Zhao Town while he continued with his troops to the next village. Half an hour later, Ding Wenlin's letter arrived in Zhao Yi's hands. After reading the contents, Zhao Yi was speechless. He actually wanted to surrender to him. Zhao Yi didn't include his name in the letter, and the game world had a system translation function that automatically translated the text into something he could understand. Ding Wenlin hadn't known he was from the Chen Kingdom, but the fact that his name was included in the letter made it clear he was from the Chen Kingdom. Ding Wenlin, who didn't even know his nationality, wanted to surrender. Zhao Yi didn't dare accept such a person, as he could easily be tempted into betrayal by the benefits. However, as they were all from Chen, Zhao Yi could offer some preferential treatment to Ding Wenlin's territory relocation, such as sending carriages and earth mages to assist with a move, cavalry escorts, and even food and other daily necessities. After figuring things out, Zhao Yi wrote another letter in reply, stating that his territory was temporarily closed to outsiders, but considering they were fellow Chen, they would offer some assistance if they were willing to move. Ding Wenlin's letter included his ID, allowing him to add friends via that ID, but Zhao Yi had no such intentions. The cavalry quickly delivered the lord's letter to Ding Wenlin's territory. After reading Zhao Yi's second letter, Ding Wenlin didn't move immediately, but rather, because the opposing lord was also from Chen, he was more interested in cozying up to him. Another letter was sent to Zhao Yi, who only glanced at it before writing a stern letter demanding that Ding Wenlin move. Seeing that the lord seemed to be getting angry, Ding Wenlin gave up writing and began preparing for the relocation. Chapter 88 Inside and Outside the Forum. Faced with the swagger of Zhao Yi's cavalry and the letter urging them to relocate, some player lords wisely prepared to relocate, while others decided to hold out, escaping via teleportation arrays if they could no longer withstand the pressure. Zhao Yi's original mission for the cavalry was to patrol the surrounding second-tier baronies, leaving the third-tier baronies alone. The weak third-tier baronies were already shaky, their territories unable to hold out for more than a few days under the nightly attacks of the undead. They simply wanted to hold out a little longer, perhaps gaining a few more benefits, such as leveling up or earning more points, but would quickly flee if anything unexpected happened. In such shaky territories, the inhabitants were generally indigenous. Recruiting player lords to player territories was a two-way choice and could not be forced. Recruiting indigenous residents was also not mandatory, it was largely a matter of luck. With a bit of luck, even a Tier 0 professional recruit might have 3-star talent. Zhao Yi had seen such examples on the forum. The territory was already in dire straits, and with the addition of a lord who only wanted to gain a few benefits and escape before the territory's collapse, public morale and public security plummeted. Territories in similar situations even experienced mutinies, with lords being killed by their own native professionals. Regardless of their lowly rank, a lord was still a member of the nobility, yet being killed by a non-noble would have caused a huge stir before the Plague of the Undead. Currently, during the Plague of the Undead, this incident in territories far from the native cities caused little commotion, only alarming a few blue-star players who constantly monitored the loyalty of their native professionals, devising a means of eliminating any who dropped below 60. The cavalry units dispatched by Zhao Yi quickly raided 2 second-class baronies surrounding the territory. Feeling the mission was too easy and completed so quickly, they requested permission to raid the third-class baronies, and Zhao Yi agreed. As the cavalry advanced on the crumbling third-class baronies, they became the final straw that broke the camel's back. My territory borders the lords, and the lord's cavalry outnumbers all the professionals in my territory, fuck. The lord's cavalry has so many first-class professionals, run away, run away. Run. If you're slow, the lord will eat you. With the cavalry's intimidation, coupled with a letter urging them to relocate, the lords of the third-class baronies immediately considered abandoning their territories. 2 lords even considered moving, but only one third-class baron remained adamant, pretending to defend his territory with his life, refusing to move. Zhao Yi dismissed the cavalry's report. Those willing to flee and abandon their territories were best. Those willing to relocate, if they were fellow Chen players, Zhao Yi would offer some assistance. Those unwilling to move could wait and let the undead take them away. Unbeknownst to Zhao Yi, lords from surrounding territories had posted on the forum accusing him of evil deeds, We are all compatriots on Blue Star. I am just a weak lord of a third-class barony. Why did the big boss treat me like this? The big boss's cavalry unit has a full 100 people, and the number of professionals under my command is less than 30. Shouldn't the big boss protect us weak people? Why are you bullying us weak people now, just because my territory blocks the big boss's territory? This kind of person doesn't deserve to be called a big boss, so I want to expose him. I don't know his name, but I can post a location of my own territory, and his territory must be near mine. Everyone should pay attention to this despicable player. It would be best if the surrounding player territories unite to fight against him and drive him out of the game world. A 1,000-word accusation article still attracted the attention of some players and attracted the support of many weak players, but then there was nothing. A slightly stronger player lord responded to the post, "It's all your fault for being too weak. It's all your fault for being too close to the boss's territory. Weakness is your original sin. Instead of writing such lengthy posts, you might as well pack up and move on. Maybe after a fresh start, your territory will quickly become a second-class barony." This accusation post received little attention on the forum, and no one paid much attention to it. Everyone was focused on leveling up and advancing, not caring about others. Furthermore, the boss being accused seemed quite respectable, having resorted to courtesy before force. Anyone else would have attacked without a word and gone straight to work. Zhao Yi, who occasionally visited the forum to gather information, hadn't seen the post accusing him. The poster was stunned to see only a few people offering support, offering no practical help, and even urging him to move. He felt the post was wasted. With the undead in front and the boss behind, the territory was definitely unsustainable. With his luck and abilities, managing a territory was beyond his reach. He gave up on relocating and prepared to pack up his belongings and move his family to the indigenous city. He had already reached level 0 in his combat profession and was saving some money to see if he could buy a level 1 advancement stone to become a level 1 professional, so he wouldn't be cannon fodder in the indigenous city. Bullying by bigwigs was a minor issue on the origin continent, and it would continue to happen as players progressed. Some players still believed in the blue planet mentality of loud voices are right, hoping to change their situation through public opinion, but they failed to consider that the origin continent and blue planet players were two completely different worlds. On blue planet, loud voices were right; on the origin continent, strength was the truth. Without strength, it was better to just follow the boss's lead. Those who disobeyed were expected to leave the game world soon. In reality, a small group within the Blue Star player community is deeply resentful. These are the influential media figures on Blue Star. Due to their limited resources, they dare not take any action in the indigenous cities, and can only conduct preliminary experiments on the forums. Due to their limited strength, they currently dare not condemn the powerful or even the player factions on the forums. Instead, they plan to temporarily establish a news platform through the forums, systematically disseminating major events from across the origin continent to attract attention. Once this platform attracts the attention of numerous players, the impact of their words and actions will greatly increase. Perhaps a single word could garner support from numerous players, a return to the path of Blue Star. However, they have also discovered a problem: military force. Without sufficient military power, if they accidentally anger a powerful figure or player faction, they could face catastrophic consequences. They need to seek support from the player faction. As on Blue Star, it seems the official forces of the Eli Nation are the best option. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89, Quiet Development. 100 cavalrymen from the territory dispatched, conquering most of the surrounding player territories. They either relocated or abandoned them. Only one second-class baron, which attempted to resist, was destroyed that same night by a group of assassins dispatched by Zhao Yi. With no further obstacles to territorial expansion and no immediate prospect of becoming an earl, Zhao Yi's territory entered a period of stable development. On the 20th day after a Blue Star player entered the game world, Zhao Yi's 5th and 6th villages were completed, and the number of treasure chests received increased by 2 each day. With this increase in treasure chests, the chance of finding an advancement stone also increased. Thinking of the platinum card tree of life seed in the card pack, Zhao Yi had the idea of planting it and cultivating it. To advance a Tree of Life seed, 10 level 1 advancement stones were required. Therefore, whenever he received 2 or more level 1 advancement stones each day, he would save 1 for the Tree of Life seed. Due to the slow rate of obtaining advancement stones from treasure chests, the current first-tier professions in the territory are primarily recruited from newly recruited personnel. With the increasing number of level 0 perfected professions, only those with 2-star talent have a higher chance of reaching level 1 quickly. It's difficult for those with 1-star talent to advance quickly. These level 0 perfected professions can only advance quickly with advancement stones. Zhao Yi sets aside at least 1 level 1 advancement stone daily to help those waiting in line for level 0 perfected professions, offering them some hope. As long as they wait, they will surely advance. Thanks to the experience bonuses from the 6 affiliated villages, Zhao Yi's leveling speed is increasing, and he's intentionally aiming to improve it. Unlike other player lords, he doesn't fight at the end of the night, leaving the undead trap to kill for himself in order to quickly level up. Zhao Yi simply strives to improve his kill efficiency in battle. As the highest level marksman in the territory, armed with the best weapons, it's not difficult for Zhao Yi to kill more undead each day and gain more experience. On the morning of the 21st day, Zhao Yi successfully reached level 17 in his archer class. With the arrival of new recruits that day, Zhao Yi's territory reached the 20,000 person limit for a first-class viscount. Zhao Yi could begin the process of upgrading his territory whenever he wished. However, the territory's strength and preparation were still insufficient, so the upgrade would have to wait. In reality, with the territory's current strength and preparation, it was reasonably likely to be promoted to a third-class earldom. However, even if the promotion battle was won, the territory would suffer a heavy blow, something Zhao Yi did not want to see. Zhao Yi would only consider upgrading his territory when his territory was strong, well prepared, and could withstand the incoming undead attacks with minimal losses. By the 22nd day, the 7th and 8th villages had been completed, increasing the experience bonus from battles. This allowed Zhao Yi's archer class to reach level 18 just 2 days after reaching level 17, putting him just 2 steps away from becoming a second-class archer. Luckily, a 3-star talent class recruitment scroll for the archer class had been opened from a treasure chest that day. Ultimately, Mars, a 3-star archer, became Zhao Yi's 4th 3-star talent class. That day, an event that captivated all Blue Star players occurred. Heng Sanguo, the most formidable of the Blue Star nations, officially ranked among the top 50 in the territory rankings, was officially promoted to a third-class earldom. Then, that same night, this Heng Sanguo player territory was decimated by a horde of undead. As various news stories surfaced on the forum, all Lord players confirmed that advancement to a third-class earldom would indeed entail encounters with third-class undead, including a significant number of second- and first-class undead. Even those with second-class professionals in their territory were not guaranteed to withstand the undead horde. The first Heng Sanguo player to cross the river drowned. Seeing the fate of the first player, other player lords, who considered their territories strong, decided to wait and make further preparations. However, some factions felt that Heng Sanguo's player territories were inherently weak, far behind the top 10 territories. The failure of Heng Sanguo's player territory to advance did not necessarily mean that the top 10 would also fail. They decided to prepare further and attempt advancement. Successful promotions would undoubtedly accrue immense prestige. While prestige is intangible, it holds significant weight both in the game world and on Blue Star. Furthermore, achieving earldom earlier would create a gap between the territories that would be promoted later. A slight gap would widen, solidifying a leading position. Thus, on the 24th day after Blue Star players entered the game world, Friend Territory, the strongest territory under the official Eli Kingdom and 9th on the leaderboard, was officially promoted to a third-class earldom. All players watched closely to see if the Eli Kingdom player territory would succeed in the promotion. If it did, the top 10 or even 20 player territories would follow suit tomorrow. On that day, the last of Zhao Yi's annexed villages, Village 9, was completed, fully utilizing all the annexed village quotas. Zhao Yi was expected to be the first player territory to achieve this. With its main city, Zhao Town, and 9 annexed villages, Zhao Yi's total population exceeded 23,000, and its military strength surpassed 2,800. Despite its impressive strength, the territory had barely broken into the top 100 on the leaderboard. Zhao Yi paid no attention to this. Rankings weren't everything. After all, His territory needed to develop other industries alongside its military. Territories focused on player factions could focus solely on the military, where combat class players were more numerous, sometimes exceeding 1/5 of the total. While his territory wasn't as numerous as those in the previous territories, Zhao Yi believed his territory could surpass the top 10 in terms of first-tier professionals and even military supplies. Not to forget the Mage Tower, one of his key assets. Overall, Zhao Yi's territory ranked among the top 10 player territories, but the main gap lay in second-tier professionals. Next, Zhao Yi would strive to catch up. The territory's total population had already exceeded 23,000, with the main city, Zhaotown, and its 10 affiliated villages fully populated, yet recruitment continued daily. With so many points at hand, he was determined to recruit personnel to strengthen his territory. Therefore, before achieving a promotion to third-class earldom, Zhao Yi planned to refrain from recruiting civilians and instead recruit only officials and merchants, aside from professionals. Only first-tier professionals were recruited. A first-tier priest required 30,000 points, and a minimum of one was recruited daily. That night, Fran territory, the strongest territory under the official power of the Eli Kingdom, was annihilated by the undead army. The Lord players at the top of the leaderboard were stunned by this result. The second taller person drowned when crossing the river. The ones behind him certainly didn't dare to cross the river, and the ones in front were also worried that they were not tall enough and needed to make more preparations. On the morning of the 25th day, Zhao Yi's archer profession reached level 19. After another round of recruitment, the territory ranking was about to enter the top 40. The territories at the top of the leaderboard were watched by various player forces, but Zhao Yi set an anonymous setting, so no matter how much he paid attention, he could not find out any specific information. Today, the first-class Viscount chose to be promoted to the third-class earldom to focus on development. Since the star symbol of talent cannot be recognized by the audiobook, the star symbol will be changed to text in the future. Chapter 90 Before Promotion. After 2 days of silence, on the 26th day, Ivanov, the second strongest territory under the official Lost Kingdom, was officially promoted to third-class earldom. And then, nothing happened. Ivanov was also annihilated by the undead horde. The strongest territories of the three major military powers on Blue Planet, Eli and Los, were successively annihilated by the undead. While the strength of the official forces of the two countries allowed them to continue to promote player territories into the top 10, the loss of their previously strongest territories dealt a heavy blow to morale. Only the first-class Viscount territory of Chengjin, the strongest territory under the official Chen Kingdom, remained. Players on the forum speculated that of the 5 remaining hidden territories in the top 10, at least 3 belonged to the official Chen Kingdom, which only promoted the strongest, Chengjin, as a first-class Viscount. According to Eli intelligence sources, Chengjin was a colonel in the Chen Kingdom's army. It's reasonable to assume that a lord is an officer. Territories established by the armies of various nations on Blue Star are generally more suitable for cultivating official power. With sufficient funds and resources, they can rise rapidly. With the strongest territories of the two major powers gone, only Chen remains. Many players speculate on when Chengjin's promotion to first-class Viscount will be officially announced, but nothing has happened. On the morning of the 27th day, Zhao Yi's archer level reached 19th level, 100%, thanks to a 96% experience bonus from combat evaluation. After consuming a level 2 advancement stone, he successfully advanced to level 20, becoming a second-class archer. Name, Zhao Yi. Lifespan, 24/150. Occupation, first-class Viscount level 20 archer, 0%. Attributes, Strength 39, Constitution 39, Agility 39, Wisdom 53, Free attribute points. 17, Charm. 9, Leadership. 11/477, compared to a first-level archer, a second-level archer's lifespan increases by 50 years. Each of the 4 attributes increases by 3 points, and the free attribute also increases by 3 points. Charm increases by 1 point upon reaching first level, and another 1 point upon reaching second level. Zhao Yi once again entered the top 10,000 of the combat class rankings, surpassing tens of thousands of first-level combat class players. Level 2 advancement stones are already much scarcer than level 1 advancement stones, and they are being aggressively acquired by major player factions. Even if they can't use them all, they won't be released. This leaves many players reaching a certain level without advancement stones, forcing them to wait patiently. Zhao Yi, meanwhile, opened 10 treasure chests a day and still had 1 level 4 advancement stone, 2 level 3 advancement stones, 5 level 2 advancement stones, and 7 level 1 advancement stones left to use on the Tree of Life seed. Advancing to level 2 archer was crucial for Zhao Yi, as it meant he could recruit a level 2 profession. While he couldn't afford level 2 priests and mages, he could always afford to recruit a level 2 archer, assassin, shield warrior, lancer, or swordsman. Furthermore, with 10 more treasure chests to open, while a level 2 profession recruitment scroll only appeared in silver tier cards and above, with so many treasure chests at hand, he knew he would be able to find one. As Zhao Yi opened a platinum treasure chest and then 9 silver treasure chests, a level 2 profession recruitment scroll appeared. The gold card, Tier 2 Fire Mage recruitment scroll, the silver cards, Tier 2 Archer recruitment scroll, Tier 2 Swordsman recruitment scroll, and Tier 2 Assassin recruitment scroll, can directly recruit 4 Tier 2 professionals, saving 160,000 points. Recruiting a Tier 0 Earth Mage requires 1,000 points, a Tier 1 Earth Mage requires 10,000 points, and a Tier 2 Earth Mage requires 100,000 points. This has increased tenfold. The territory is currently experiencing stable development, with virtually no civilian recruitment. Professional recruitment is primarily focused on Tier 1 professionals. With a low population increase and a low daily increase in the number of undead attacks, the daily point gain remains minimal. Since last night's battle, Zhao Yi has only accumulated over 400,000 points, enough to recruit only 13 Tier 2 archers. He certainly can't use all of these points to recruit Tier 2 archers, but he'll have to use half. The remaining half will be used to recruit assassins, shield warriors, and lancers. Priests and mages, as they consume a lot of points, are currently unavailable. Recruiting archers effectively boosted the territory's combat power. The 3rd and 2nd tier undead that appeared in the undead army were primarily eliminated by Zhao Yi and his 2nd tier archers. 2nd tier assassins were required to wield gold and silver crossbows to assassinate liches. With the influx of 2nd tier professionals, Zhao Yi felt the time for advancement to 3rd tier earldom was nigh. Because the strongest territories of the 2 major military powers had been decimated, Cheng Jinling, ranked number 1 on the leaderboard, had remained inactive, and other player territories were equally hesitant to attempt advancement to 3rd tier earldom. This wait lasted until the 29th day since the Blue Star players arrived on the Origin continent. It had been 2 days since Zhao Yi's advancement to 2nd tier archer. In the battle the previous night, Joanna and Elliot had both reached 1st tier perfection. You won 10 battles, you destroyed 8,125 undead, you suffered 0 casualties, battle rating B in Zhao Town, D in Tishi Village, points increased by 96%, professional experience increased by 96%, received 1 platinum chest and 9 silver chests. Zhao Yi opened the platinum chest first. As he looked, his eyes lit up, the gold card, 2nd level priest recruitment scroll. This was a valuable item worth 300,000 points. Besides the 2nd level priest recruitment scroll, the 10 chests also contain recruitment scrolls for a 2nd level shield warrior, a 2nd level archer, and a 2nd level lancer. Zhao Yi examined the 2nd level professional recruitment scrolls in his card pack, then opened the page in his notepad, where he kept track of his 2nd level professional recruits, his mind racing. After a few minutes, Zhao Yi made a decision to advance his territory. After deducting the 100,000 points required to advance to 3rd class earldom, the remaining points were enough to recruit 5 2nd level archers, 5 2nd level shield warriors, 5 2nd level spearmen, and 2 2nd level assassins. Including the 2nd level professionals recruited over the past 2 days and those to be recruited today, Zhao Yi's 2nd level professionals will soon reach 71. Joanna and Elliot, both 3-star talents, advanced directly from level 0 perfection to level 1 without any pause. Although they paused at level 1 perfection, they should be able to break through soon. But Zhao Yi couldn't wait any longer. He was promoting the territory today. He directly used level 2 advancement stones on the 2 to increase the territory's combat power and purchased skilled books from the market for them to learn. Skipping breakfast, Zhao Yi summoned Cece and Elliot to discuss the territory promotion. Cece and Elliot hurried over to learn that the Lord was promoting the territory today. Cece's expression was slightly solemn, while Elliot, who was more familiar with the territory's military strength than Cece, was much more relaxed. Under the leadership of the Lord, the territory will definitely be able to eliminate all the invading undead, Elliot said directly. Chapter 91 Preparation. The decision had been made to fully advance the territory. As Zhao Yi's trusted confidants, Cece and Elliot, both civil and military, were fully committed to their cooperation. After the brief meeting, Zhao Yi handed Elliot a level 2 advancement stone, commanding him to immediately advance to level 2 swordsman. Elliot achieved this advancement, and soon after, in the Mage Tower, Joanna used the level 2 advancement stone to become a level 2 wind mage. Zhao Yi continued his shopping spree at the market, spending most of his funds and purchasing level 2 class skilled books for Joanna and Elliot. Even so, after this large purchase, Zhao Yi still had over 2,000 low-grade magic crystals on hand. The magic gun was a significant consumer of magic crystals. Using the magic gun to kill a level 3 undead would consume 100 low-grade magic crystals per shot, and that wasn't enough to kill them in one go, requiring more shots. Zhao Yi purchased 12 super explosive arrows, capable of killing Tier 3 professionals and undead, despite the hefty price tag of 500 low-grade magic crystals. 8 of these arrows were intended for the Tier 2 assassin team. Each member of the Tier 2 assassin team was equipped with an archer crossbow and a storage ring, along with one of the 8 super explosive arrows and 3 high-level explosive arrows. The Lich commanding the undead army tonight must be Tier 3. The higher the tier, the harder it is to kill. Both the magic gun and the super explosive arrows are powerful enough to kill Tier 3 undead, but while they may not have a problem killing other Tier 3 undead, destroying a Lich, which possesses the wisdom of its former self, is much more difficult. A Tier 3 Lich can cast powerful defensive spells, effectively withstanding a single super explosive arrow's damage. If a Tier 3 Lich successfully casts a defensive spell before a super explosive arrow strikes, at least 2 super explosive arrows are needed to damage it, and only a successful hit from all 3 arrows is enough to guarantee its destruction. Thanks to the territory's steady growth over the past 10 days, Zhao Yi had amassed a substantial amount of money from opening treasure chests and selling items no longer needed in the territory. This allowed him to splurge on super explosive arrows, equivalent to silver equipment. He bought 12 at once, and even with a 10% discount from the Hill Chamber of Commerce, it still cost 54 mid-grade magic crystals. Zhao Yi was no longer just a potential customer of the Hill Chamber of Commerce, but a truly established client. Every purchase from the Hill Chamber of Commerce was at least 10% off, and free gifts were given away for free. Some even regularly gifted Zhao Yi gifts, hoping that he would continue to purchase from the Hill Chamber of Commerce. The territory used not only monoguns and super explosive arrows to destroy Tier 3 undead, but also high-level offensive spell scrolls. Even the Mage Tower, already accumulating considerable energy, could unleash a powerful Tier 3 offensive spell with an attack range exceeding 1,000 meters, capable of striking nearly every area of Zhaoxian's battlefield. Zhao Yi prepared extensively to eliminate the Tier 3 undead, spending a fortune that even the top 10 territories could not match. Although Zhao Yi's territory still hasn't cracked the top 10 of the leaderboard, he believes his territory's overall strength surpasses that of Cheng Jingling, the leader. Individual player territories, or even small and medium-sized player factions, can't compare to Zhao Yi's financial resources. While those larger factions may have greater financial resources than Zhao Yi, they can't commit so much to a single territory. After leaving the market and arriving at a teleportation array, Zhao Yi began recruiting for the day. His recruitment was small, all Tier 2 professionals. Using recruitment scrolls and points, he recruited 6 Tier 2 archers, 6 Tier 2 shield warriors, 6 Tier 2 spearmen, 2 Tier 2 assassins, and 1 Tier 2 cleric. With the addition of 21 families, the territory's total population has reached 24,695, and the territory's military strength has already surpassed 3,000, reaching 3,051. Including Joanna and Elliot, 2 newly promoted Tier 2 professionals, Zhao Yi now commands a total of 73 Tier 2 professionals. There are 21 second-tier archers, 20 second-tier shield warriors, 18 second-tier lancers, 2 second-tier swordsmen, 9 second-tier assassins, 1 second-tier fire mage, 1 second-tier earth mage, 1 second-tier wind mage, and 1 second-tier priest. With so many second-tier professionals, the number of first-tier professionals is 10 times that of the second-tier professions, reaching a staggering 764. Zhao Yi believes his territory ranks first in overall strength, but in terms of the number of first-tier and second-tier professionals, he barely ranks in the top 10 numbers aside, at present, for the majority of second-tier and first-tier professionals of the same profession and level. The natives are stronger than the Blue Star players. After all, players learn quickly, and some territories, due to limited financial resources, cannot even provide skilled books or skill inheritance stones for combat class players, forcing them to rely solely on book-based learning, which is too difficult for players. Without skills, they can only rely on basic attacks in combat. The recruited native professionals have spent years developing to this level, possessing at least one skill at level 0, one skill at level 1, and one skill at level 2. The more gifted may even possess additional skills. For example, Joanna at level 0 has 2 skills, while Randall, a priest at level 1, has 4. Recruiting players has its advantages, while recruiting natives has its advantages. Player factions often have territories populated not only by player subjects but also by native subjects. However, territories dominated by native subjects generally develop more slowly. Zhao Yi finds this particularly frustrating. While civilians may be employed by the territory to perform laborious labor, the families of professionals absolutely will not. Territories must have a sufficient number of civilian families to maintain a sufficient labor force, and even older children must be employed. This is a rule of the native peoples of the origin continent, one that Zhao Yi cannot currently change, and likely will never be able to do. After all, the professionals are all under his command and receive high salaries, so their families don't need to work hard to earn a living. Unless the territory is in dire straits, all subjects will contribute to defend their homeland. After the recruitment was complete, Zhao Yi found a place to sit and reflect on the territory's preparations. A powerful territory army, ample supplies, a squad of assassins capable of killing third-tier undead, and the ultimate killer, the Mage Tower. The main city, Zhao Town, had a population of over 13,000. Including non-human creatures, the attacking undead could reach up to 14,000. Even if the attack on Zhao Town was divided into 3 waves, each with at least 4,000 undead. The territory's total strength was 3,051 men, with each affiliated village garrisoned by a 118-man garrison. Only the captain and vice-captain were first tier, leaving a gap of 11 men stationed in Zhao Town, reaching 2,000. All of his second-tier professionals, and most of his first-tier professionals, were stationed in Zhao Town. After carefully comparing the enemy and our own forces, Zhao Yi felt that with the territory's strength, even if the assassination attempt on the Lich failed, he would be able to resist the undead army commanded by the Lich with minimal effort. Chapter 92 Who is it? The territory was ready. Zhao Yi unhesitatingly used his remaining 100,000 points to promote his first-class Viscount to third-class Earl, confirming the territory's promotion. Tonight, the main city of Zhao Town would face an even more powerful undead horde, a formidable test for Zhao Yi's territory. The moment Zhao Yi became a third-class Earl, a wave appeared on the ocean. Over time, this wave quickly grew into a massive wave. Within the rankings is a Lord level list, or more precisely, a Lord title list. While the Lord level list is rarely visited, its presence doesn't necessarily mean it's absent. With a third-class Earl rising to the top of the Lord level list, it quickly caught the attention of Blue Star players, especially the major player factions. Who is this third-class Earl? Another new territory to be promoted to a third-class earldom. Is it a hidden territory belonging to the Chen Kingdom? Upon seeing the hidden information about a Lord's promotion to a third-class Earl, the major player factions, along with many Blue Star players, assumed that this third-class Earl was an official territory of the Chen Kingdom. Given Chen's population and military strength, Chen is officially recognized as the strongest player faction on Blue Star. Even the Ailey official acknowledges this. Suddenly, a player has been promoted to the rank of third-class Earl. 5 of the top 10 territories in the rankings are hidden, leading to speculation that several belong to Chen's official territories. Perhaps the lord of one of these territories has been promoted to the rank of third-class Earl and intends to do so today. Everyone knows that the rankings are merely a guide. Territory power rankings are calculated based solely on the number of professionals in a territory, without taking into account their equipment or crucial military supplies like explosive arrows, alchemical bombs, and spell scrolls. A territory ranked first in the power rankings only indicates the largest number of professionals, not the strongest overall strength. It's simply a matter of acknowledging the strongest territory. Other factions and players are speculating about the exact territory of the player who was promoted to the rank of third-class Earl. Official Chen is also perplexed. Without approval from above, no territory would choose to be promoted. In fact, they had already decided to promote Cheng Jinling to third-class earldom in the next 2 days, but they didn't expect that a lord who had hidden information would get there first. The other players speculated that the lord who had hidden information was an official of the Chen kingdom, which made them speechless. Since that was the case, Cheng Jinling was almost ready and chose to promote today. His actions showed that the lord who had hidden information was not theirs. They couldn't promote 2 territories to third-class earldom at the same time. As the order from above was conveyed to Cheng Jin spent 100,000 points in the Points Mall, without hesitation to upgrade his title to third-class Earl. Another third-class Earl appeared on the Lord level list, and it was Cheng Jin who had not hidden information. With Cheng Jin's promotion to third-class Earl, the discussion about the third-class Earl in the forum became even more heated, and players continued to speculate about the third-class Earl who had hidden information. Cheng Jin has been promoted to third-class Earl. The other third-class Earl likely isn't officially Chen State's. Official Chen State officials wouldn't risk allowing 2 territories to be promoted to third-class earldom simultaneously. If it's not Chen State's official, then whose could it be? Is there a hidden player faction even more powerful than Chen State's official? It could be a slightly weaker player faction that has invested all its resources in a single territory and decided to promote it to third-class earldom now, aiming for instant fame. Could it be that a lord spent 100,000 points to become a third-class earldom, but doesn't plan to do so immediately? The forums were full of speculation about the hidden third-class earldom. Some even speculated that it was a lucky individual player, a guess that was very close to Zhao Yi's information. After these speculations about the hidden third-class earldom, many idle players speculated whether the 2 territories would be successfully promoted to third-class earldoms today. Most players believe that Cheng Jin, who ranked first in combat power, had a greater chance of promotion, while Zhao Yi, who was more secretive, had a lower chance. If Cheng Jinling succeeds in his promotion and gains more information about the undead army during the promotion battle, more territories will choose to advance once they feel they have enough strength. 3 people have already drowned in the third earldom's river. While the first was slightly shorter, the next 2 were quite tall. With each passing day, everyone's height increases, but there's no guarantee they'll still drown at their current height. If someone successfully crosses the river, they can compare their own height to those of others to determine if they can. If they can, they'll quickly catch up. If they can't, they'll wait. All player factions are focused on Cheng Jinling and Zhao Yiling. They're feeling conflicted. They hope one faction succeeds so they can quickly catch up. They also hope both fail, narrowing the gap. Amidst this complex mix of emotions, some even hope Cheng Jinling fails and Zhao Yiling succeeds. All factions don't want the Chen Kingdom's officials to become more powerful. At this moment, Cheng Jinling and Zhao Yiling, separated by vast distances on the origin continent, are both intensely preparing for battle. Money and resources from the official forces of Chen State continuously flowed to Cheng Jinling through the market. Zhao Yi could only rely on himself, spending all his accumulated wealth to improve his territory's strength. In reality, Zhao Yi's territory should have accumulated even more wealth, but Zhao Yi had previously worried about unexpected changes in the game world's rules, so he stockpiled more military supplies in the main city of Zhao Town and its affiliated villages. Even in the area with the smallest reserves, those supplies were enough to last for 6 nights. This vast stockpile of military supplies allowed Zhao Yi's territory to spend money freely. If it were a territory under the official power of Chen State, this amount of funds could have trained at least 5 Cheng Jinlings. With the military supplies nearly ready, Zhao Yi, Elliot, Joanna, and others developed several battle plans. In the afternoon, they gathered all the professionals in Zhao Town for 2 rehearsals. This would allow them to quickly adjust their battle plans according to the changes in the undead army during tonight's battle, avoiding chaos and responding calmly. The goal was to eliminate the undead attack tonight with the least possible effort. Zhao Yi had already devised several plans just to deal with the third-tier lich commanding the undead army. Everything was ready, waiting for tonight's decisive battle against 3 waves of undead. Zhao Yi would rather consume more military supplies than see his own professionals die in battle. If no casualties occurred tonight, perhaps he could earn a higher rating and a higher tier treasure chest at the battle conclusion tomorrow morning. Zhao Yi was eagerly anticipating it. Chapter 93 Arrows Rain. Finally, night fell, and the battle was about to begin. On the forums, numerous players were watching the battle between Chen Jinling and Zhao Yiling. Perhaps after tonight, both of their names would disappear from the Lord's ranking list, or perhaps they would both remain. At dusk, the assassin squad's 8 second-tier assassins all set out, blending into the darkness and swiftly moving away from Zhao Town, lurking along the route leading to the undead horde. In addition to these 8 second-tier assassins, the remaining second-tier assassin in the territory, along with numerous first-tier assassins, left Zhao Town and began scouting in all directions. Their mission was to promptly report any undead intelligence they discovered back to Zhao Town. In the third hour of the night, the first wave of 2,000 undead knights rode towards Zhao Town. After scouting the first wave of undead from afar, one second-tier assassin pulled out a scroll of wind blessing, opened it, activated his haste skill, and raced towards Zhao Town. The undead had already died once, but that didn't mean their actions were completely expended. Undead knights wouldn't constantly charge, giving the assassins ample time to get back to Zhao Town a few steps ahead of them and deliver the intelligence to Zhao Yi. The incoming undead are all undead knights, numbering around 2,000. No third-tier undead have been detected. The first-tier undead make up about 1/10, and the second-tier undead make up about 1/100th. The assassin's intelligence was quite comprehensive. Facing such a massive undead force, Zhao Yi showed no fear. His entire army was fully prepared for battle. Soon, 2,000 undead knights appeared, shifting from a steady pace to a charge, accelerating towards Zhao Town. Their tactics were simple. At least 10 second-tier Dark Knights and at least 100 first-tier Dark Knights led the charge, stabbing Zhao Town like a sharp sword. The traps and metal fences outside Zhao Town offered little resistance to the first and second-tier Dark Knights, and could even be easily breached by them, clearing a path for even more undead knights to follow. The undead knight army's tactics were simple and effective, but the third-level lich commanding them clearly underestimated Zhao Yi's territory. Behind Zhao Zhen's defenses, over 800 archers and horse archers were present, with over 200 first-level archers and horse archers, and 21 second-level archers. These first-level archers, first-level horse archers, and second-level archers matched the first and second-level Dark Knights in the undead knight army. Even if the human archers weren't fully concentrated on the front lines, the undead knight army wouldn't be able to break through. Under Zhao Yi's command, all the zero-level archers and horse archers on the front battlefield were divided into 4 waves, firing alternately. The first and second-level archers and horse archers each targeted their corresponding first and second-level Dark Knights. As the leading second-level Dark Knight entered the 200-meter range, Zhao Yi launched an energy beam, consuming 30 low-grade magic crystals, to directly capture the foremost second-level Dark Knight. Following Zhao Yi, second-tier archers, first-tier archers, and first-tier archers launched their homing arrow attacks. Amidst a continuous barrage of explosions, in mere seconds, the first-tier and second-tier Dark Knights leading the undead knight army were completely annihilated. The zero-tier archers and zero-tier archers began to alternate fire. Under the overwhelming firepower of Zhao Yi's territory, the undead knights could not advance a single step. It felt like an abyss lay ahead, swallowing them whole if they continued forward. After suffering losses of over 500 knights, the undead knight army finally changed its tactics. The large group of undead knights split into 2 groups, one on the left and one on the right, aiming to attack Zhao Zhen from either side. Zhao Yi, wielding his mana spear, was dispatching the undead. Elliot was in command. Under Elliot's command, half of the archers and archers on the front line continued to alternate fire, while the remaining half split in half, each supporting the flanks. Wind mages bestowed their blessings upon the reinforcements. To defend against the undead horde that was attacking tonight, Zhao Town's first line of defense had already reached 12 high platforms. The archers and horse archers atop these platforms remained stationary, never leaving. As the undead horde circled the town's left and right sides, the archers and horse archers on the corresponding platforms fired explosive arrows, effectively hindering the undead's attack on both sides. Soon after, reinforcements arrived from the front lines, and with their combined strength, the undead army was unable to advance. On the battlefield, the undead knights' losses mounted steadily. When fewer than 500 remained, even the liches gave up, allowing the undead knights to charge freely towards Zhao Town. After eliminating all the remaining first and second-tier Dark Knights, Elliot stepped down from the platform and personally led shield warriors, spearmen, swordsmen, and priests forward to eliminate the remaining undead, allowing the archers and horse archers more time to rest. The battle against the first wave of undead went relatively smoothly. After eliminating all the undead, the professionals retreated to the first line of defense to rest and await the arrival of the second wave. 10 minutes later, the assassin brought Zhao Yi some bad news. It wasn't that the second wave of undead was too strong, but rather that it was too troublesome. It was a rare zombie horde, including a third-level decaying zombie. Zombies are transformed from recently deceased corpses. When the body has completely decayed, leaving only bones, they transform into skeletons. Therefore, skeletons are the most numerous of the undead, while zombies are far fewer in number. Zombies appear less frequently in the nightly undead attacks. While their fewer appearances make them easier to eliminate than skeletons of the same level, zombies are incredibly disgusting, covered in pathogens. Close combat with zombies requires purification by a priest afterward. Furthermore, after eliminating all the zombies, a third wave of undead might still require close combat at the site where the large number of zombies perished. After discussing with Elliot, Zhao Yi reached a decision. Since the zombies moved slowly, all archers and horse archers should attack with full force, aiming to kill them all before they entered the trap. Furthermore, shooting the zombies had the added benefit of reducing the consumption of primary explosive arrows, allowing ordinary arrows to be used to eliminate level 0 zombies. Most importantly, Zhao Yi had many archers under his command, half of whom possessed the multi-arrow skill. Using multi-arrow fire allowed him to fire multiple arrows simultaneously, reducing his chance of success. This reduction in accuracy wasn't a big deal, as it only consumed ordinary arrows, so Zhao Yi didn't mind the extra cost. Given these factors, Zhao Yi was absolutely confident he could eliminate all the zombies before they entered the trap. His mission was to eliminate the single level 3 rotten zombie in the zombie horde. 20 minutes later, the zombie horde, numbering over 4,000, slowly approached. The slow-moving zombies had just entered a 200-meter range. As illumination arrows illuminated the sky and ground, archers and horse archers unleashed a barrage of ordinary arrows upon the zombies. For a moment, arrows rained down. Thanks to the boss of Second Time to Open Your Eyes and See the World, for the 50,000 starting coins reward. More chapters will be added after the release. The author is a clumsy writer. It is very difficult to update 6,000 words every day. It is too difficult to write an extra 2,000 words occasionally as a draft. Chapter 94, The Victory of the Kryptonian. As the humans engaged the second wave of undead on the battlefield of Zhaozhen, the third wave of undead, commanded by a lich, appeared in the side of the second-tier assassins at the forefront. To avoid detection by the third-tier undead, the second-tier assassins immediately cast an invisibility scroll and watched the undead army slowly pass in front of them. A third-tier lich could be seen commanding the undead army, flanked by 2 third-tier skeleton commanders. Because of this situation, the second-tier assassins hesitated, following the plan to wait for the third-tier lich to separate from the undead army before striking. However, another unexpected event occurred. As the third wave of undead drew closer to Zhaozhen, the third-tier lich commanding it remained. It was unclear whether its own strength gave the third-tier lich the confidence to approach Zhaozhen, or whether the 2 third-tier skeleton commanders beside it instilled confidence in it. Whatever the reason, the third-tier lich continued to approach Zhaozhen. Behind it, the 8 second-tier assassins from the assassination squad trailed behind the undead army, looking for an opportunity to assassinate the third-tier lich. Standing on a high platform, Zhao Yi, with his second-level marksman's vision, easily captured the incoming third wave of undead hordes and spotted the third-level lich within them. Zhao Yi understood that the third-level lich's current condition made it difficult for the assassination team to kill it. Since the assassination team couldn't kill the third-level lich, he would do it himself. He charged 100 low-grade magic crystals, and when the third-level lich came within 500 meters, he aimed and fired. A beam of energy shot rapidly towards the third-level lich. The energy beam's speed allowed the third-level lich, sensing danger, to react even faster, or perhaps the third-level lich had already prepared in advance. A pitch-black magic shield firmly protected the third-level lich. The next moment, the energy beam struck the magic shield, and a few seconds later, it even exploded violently. As the explosion subsided, the shield remained intact, and the third-level lich within was unharmed. The lich, seemingly enraged by the attack, swung its staff, and the undead army accelerated towards Zhaozhen. The undead army maintained its formation during the charge. Hundreds of second and first tier undead were at the forefront, with hundreds of ghosts mingling among them. Skeleton archers, slightly further back, prepared their bows. 10 seconds later, the fully charged magic lances fired again at the third tier lich. The energy beam struck the lich's spell shield, exploding, leaving it intact. Zhao Yi understood that spell shields would inevitably wear out, but the magic lances took time to recharge, allowing the lich to quickly recharge. Zhao Yi could place the third tier lich closer, with other second tier archers firing super explosive arrows to assist, thus increasing the chances of destroying it. However, Zhao Yi decided not to use this strategy. The third tier lich was accompanied by two third tier skeletons, so wary of Zhao Zhen's attack that they had already stopped and were about to separate from the undead army. This was an opportunity. Behind the undead horde stood a squad of assassins. As long as the next two tier 3 skeletons didn't leave the lich's side, Zhao Yi would continue his attacks, pinning it down while Elliot directed the professionals to engage the undead horde. 15 seconds later, a third energy beam struck the spell shield, but was blocked. 15 seconds later, a fourth energy beam struck the shield, but was also blocked. Just as the tier 3 lich was gloating over its defensive spells, which had continuously fended off the human attacks, two super explosive arrows blasted from behind. Hit by these two super explosive arrows, the spell shield finally shattered, injuring the lich. The injured lich frantically attempted to cast another defensive spell, but the next moment, a third and fourth super explosive arrows struck from behind. The violent explosions killed the lich and one tier 3 skeleton, while another was injured. The lich commanding the undead army finally died. The undead army, which had maintained its formation and charged forward, gradually became disorganized. However, the undead army remained formidable, with a high proportion of first and second tier undead. It was time to unleash their ultimate weapon. 4 shield warriors set aside their heavy weapons and ascended the 4 high platforms that formed the front line. A first-tier mage beside them pulled out a spherical alchemical artifact at least 10 centimeters in diameter from his storage ring, activated it, and handed it to a shield warrior. An alchemical bomb. It wasn't the weakest primary alchemical bomb, but an intermediate alchemical bomb with a detonation radius of 9 meters, capable of killing second-tier undead in the center of the explosion. These intermediate alchemical bombs fetched nearly as much as super explosive arrows in the market. Zhao Yi had never purchased one, but he had opened them twice from treasure chests, and now held a full 20 of them. The second-tier shield warriors, each a powerful warrior, took the alchemical bombs and hurled them forcefully at the undead army ahead. The heavy alchemical bomb flew over 120 meters before crashing into the undead horde. The moment it struck, a first-level mage remotely detonated it. Boom! A mid-level alchemical bomb exploded, wiping out nearly 100 level 0 and level 1 undead within a 9-meter radius, covering an area exceeding 250 square meters. Had the second-level shield warrior thrown the bomb closer, the trap area beyond the 4th line of defense would have been affected. One mid-level alchemical bomb after another exploded, each capable of carrying out nearly 100 undead. With 10 bombs, the battlefield had been reduced to nearly 1,000 undead, dramatically easing the pressure on the professionals. Even Zhao Yi breathed a sigh of relief at the death of the third-level lich. Under the lich's command, even if the first few alchemical bombs still inflicted such heavy damage, the subsequent ones would have reduced the damage. The lich could simply command the undead horde to disperse. The third wave of undead hordes numbered over 5,000, along with an elite cavalry unit comprised entirely of first and second tier dark knights. Had the lich been in command, they would have undoubtedly sought an opportunity to charge into the defensive perimeter, causing immense trouble for Zhao Yi's forces. Now, with the lich dead, this elite cavalry unit charged directly towards Zhao Zhen, suffering heavy casualties from the alchemical bombs. Had the lich not been killed, the battle would have required not only the release of all the alchemical bombs, but also the complete depletion of the mage tower's energy. Fortunately, the lich was dead, and the third-tier lich was effectively crushed by an onslaught of over 2,000 low-grade magic crystals. Of course, the lich had underestimated the enemy, unaware of the human presence behind him. Otherwise, slaying the lich would have required several times the number of low-grade magic crystals. With the lich dead, facing the chaotic charge of the undead horde and the barrage of 10 mid-level alchemical bombs, the professionals, under Elliot's command, rapidly dispatched the advancing undead. Chapter 95 Pension. A spearman's spear shattered the skeleton's skull, extinguishing the last soul fire on the battlefield. The battle was finally over. Victory came at a price for Zhao Yi. 2 men were killed and hundreds injured. Those with minor injuries have been gradually healed by priests, while those seriously injured have recovered from their injuries with potions of life. This wasn't the first time Zhao Yi had seen casualties in battle. 8 days ago, a spearman from the 4th village garrison accidentally fell into a trap and was killed by a still-living skeleton. 5 days earlier, on the battlefield of Zhao Yi, a level 2 swordsman was instantly killed by a level 8 skeleton. With the territory's growing population and the increasing number of undead attacks, the loss of soldiers was inevitable. The only option was to minimize losses. A man is the pillar of a family. When that pillar falls, the family is on the verge of collapse. After the first soldier's death, Zhao Yi immediately decided to provide a generous pension to the family of the deceased. Based on the current salary of the deceased soldier, the same amount will be paid monthly to the family of the deceased soldier for the next 10 years. After 10 years, the amount will be halved and continued for another 10 years, for a total of 20 years. It's important to note that the pension is distributed to all members of the deceased soldier's family, with parents, wife, and children being the direct beneficiaries. The pension is divided into multiple shares, 1 share for adults and half for minors. If the family remains unchanged, the pension is not used by the entire family. If the wife remarries with the children, she will no longer receive the pension, but the children will still receive it. After the pension regulations were implemented, the loyalty of professionals generally increased, even leading to the emergence of some die-hard loyalists who reached the maximum loyalty of 100 points. Free from worries, professionals bravely fought the undead, but of course, they had to be cautious and not throw their lives away easily. The territory wasn't yet at a point where they needed to risk their lives. As for the impact of casualties on combat performance, a small number of casualties had a small impact, while a large number had a significant impact. Wounded soldiers healed before dawn are not counted as injured. A soldier had died on the Zhao battlefield. While his battle rating remained unchanged, the platinum treasure chest, which was supposed to contain 3 platinum cards, now only contained 1. 3 battles tonight had slain at least 14,000 undead. Adding the rewards from the promotion battle, Zhao Yi had a good chance of receiving an A rating tomorrow morning, and a treasure chest better than the platinum one. However, he expected only one of the better cards to be in the chest. The battle was over, and the soldiers retreated to their defenses to rest. The bodies of the 2 fallen soldiers were carried aside, awaiting notification of their families at dawn. Sitting on the ground, Zhao Yi opened the system dashboard. Instead of checking his personal territory or points mall, he opened the forum to see what other players were discussing. Presumably, most players were focused on and discussing the 2 territories that had been promoted to 3rd-class earldoms tonight. The battle in Zhao Yi's own territory has concluded. But due to hidden information and only 2 casualties, the combat power displayed on the leaderboard will not change significantly. The other territories at the top of the leaderboard haven't been promoted, and the daily undead attacks don't cause many casualties in these territories, so their combat power values won't change much either. Therefore, it's impossible to determine Zhao Yi's territory's ranking based on the dramatic fluctuations in combat power. Initially, a few people believed Zhao Yi had merely been promoted to a higher rank, and not been promoted today. As time passed, this theory gained traction, and after a few scoffs, attention shifted to Changjin's territory. In Changjin's territory, where no hidden information is available, all players can use fluctuations in combat power to determine the number of casualties. Fluctuations in combat power indicate that Changjin's territory is engaged in a war against the undead. Small fluctuations indicate that the undead attacks pose little pressure on Changjin's territory. Large fluctuations indicate that Changjin's territory is in danger of collapse. At this moment, Changjinling was already engaged in battle with the first wave of undead. The information was leaked by a player whose name was hidden. Other players didn't know whether it was true or not, but some factions knew it was real. They couldn't bribe Changjinling's soldiers, but their families were all in Changjinling. In a city of over 10,000 people, there were always people who could be bribed for personal gain. Leaking some innocent information offered a lucrative opportunity, so there were always willing parties. This kind of behavior was difficult to prevent. Major factions bribed each other's personnel. An ordinary player in a player territory could be an intelligence agent for one or more factions. With a system in place, it was impossible to identify the leaker. This wasn't entirely impossible. There were methods on the origin continent to identify leakers, such as polygraphs. However, administering a polygraph to everyone was prohibitively expensive, and no faction could afford it. Unless key personnel were bribed, the major factions could only allow the general information to spread on the forum. Seeing the Blue Star players engaged in a heated discussion in the forum, Zhao Yi glanced back at his own account, Lucky Sun 413, which had already attracted millions of followers. These millions of followers were the result of Zhao Yi's hard work over the past 10 days. After posting his first thread on the forum, he continued to post more useful posts in his free time, attracting more attention. Thank you for your concern. I've successfully eliminated 3 waves of undead, including a Tier 3 Lich, 2 Tier 3 skeletons, and a Tier 3 raw zombie. Tomorrow I will officially be promoted to 3rd class earldom. The undead are very powerful, so I suggest you continue to build up your strength and not rush into territory promotions. He finished editing and sent it. Within a second, players following Lucky Sun 413 noticed Zhao Yi's new post. Boss, this is the real boss. Turns out you're the 3rd class earl everyone's been looking for, hiding your secrets. If your territory gets promoted to 3rd class earldom today, I'd be a bit convinced. Where does your territory rank on the territory power rankings? It's so well hidden, Lucky Sun 413. If you see this reply, please private message me. I'm the owner of a listed company in Chen country, worth over 100 million. I'm willing to exchange 1/10 of my wealth for your protection, and you can increase the price based on your rank. Hello, I'm from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ali country. Our country would like to discuss cooperation with you. Please see the private message. Soon, the post was flooded with countless replies, admiration, envy, jealousy, requests for protection, and discussions of cooperation. Lucky Sun 413 only had a few million followers on the forum, not a lot, but many player factions had followed him because of Zhao Yi's post. Based on analysis of past posts, various player factions have determined that Lucky Sun 413 is likely a Chen native, a solo lord player with the European Empire. His territory ranks among the top 100, and his subjects are primarily indigenous. Recruiting such a player would be a valuable addition to their ranks. Numerous factions, including the Chen officialdom, have sent private messages, offering practical benefits to Zhao Yi's territory. Even the Chen officialdom, with its patriotic spirit, will not simply subject Chen players to its rule. The benefits they deserve must be granted, often exceeding those offered by other factions. Many experts have made bold speculations that players gain more than just level up in game, gaining 1 year of life upon return, level 20, eliminating all ailments, level 50, returning to youth, within the game world, perhaps even more. This has led various factions to attach increasing importance to the game world, even at the risk of causing significant changes to the real-world economy upon their return to reality. The game world presents a tremendous opportunity. If more can be gained from it, the landscape of Blue Planet will undergo significant changes. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 Very Rare. After Zhao Yi posted a message, the number of followers for Lucky Sun 413 doubled. In less than half an hour, the number of followers reached nearly 100 million. Of course, this new number of followers was unstable, and he would have to continue posting useful content to retain some of them. Zhao Yi didn't have the energy to focus on Lucky Sun 413, posting only when he had time, and his main time was still spent managing his territory and cultivating. After the post was published, Zhao Yi received little attention, simply ignoring the numerous comments below. He joined some players in following Cheng Jingling, who was currently battling the undead. Zhao Yi wanted to compare the strength of his territory with Cheng Jingling's. He couldn't match Cheng Jingling in terms of the number of professionals, even the number of first and second tier professionals. The only comparison now was overall strength. Based on Cheng Jinling's fluctuating combat power and information leaked by anonymous players, Cheng Jinling lost several zero-tier professionals in the first wave of undead. In the second wave, the death toll rose to over 10, and there may even be first-tier professionals killed. Cheng Jinling was currently engaged in battle against the third, strongest wave of undead, and his power fluctuated wildly. A double-digit fluctuation indicated the deaths of a Tier 0 professional, a triple-digit fluctuation could indicate the deaths of a Tier 1 professional, and a quadruple-digit fluctuation could indicate the deaths of a Tier 2 professional. This fluctuation continued until Cheng Jinling's power dropped from first to third place on the territory power rankings. Cheng Jinling successfully defeated the third wave of undead and would officially be promoted to a third-class earldom tomorrow. Not long after, Cheng Jin personally posted on the forum announcing his territory's victory, and prominent player factions on the forum offered their congratulations. After the congratulations, the players continued discussing tonight's 2 territory promotion battles. While they lacked information about Zhao Yi, they did have some information about Cheng Jinling. After one promotion battle, Cheng Jinling suffered numerous casualties, dropping from first to third place. Imagine the losses Cheng Jinling endured, considering the sheer strength of the undead hordes involved in the promotion battles. It's important to understand that someone had previously made a tentative move. If Cheng Jinling dared to advance his territory this time, he must have made thorough preparations. Even so, he still suffered numerous casualties. Even if Cheng Jinling were demoted to third place, the newly promoted first and second territories wouldn't dare choose to advance to third-class earldom tomorrow. The gap between the two is significant, and it won't be closed overnight. As for Zhao Yi, whose information was hidden, most players believed he suffered greater losses, but they couldn't find a territory that matched their ranking in the letterboards. Only a few made amusing speculations. The boss's territory was even more powerful than Cheng Jinling, officially supported by the strongest player faction, Chen State. Regardless of Zhao Yiling's strength, and whether Lucky Sun 413 was right, Lucky Sun 413 was a household name on the forum, with over 100 million followers. With such a large following, he held little value until Zhao Yi's territory decided to accept players from Blue Star. After 3 consecutive battles, Zhao Yi was exhausted. After browsing the forum for a while, he retired to his tent to rest and wait for sunrise. You won 10 battles, you destroyed 17,937 undead, you lost 2 soldiers, battle rating A in Zhao Town, D in Tishi Village, points increased by 73.6%, professional experience increased by 73.6%, received 1 crystal treasure chest and 9 silver treasure chests, marksman class upgrade. Zhao Yi ignored the fact that his marksman level had reached 22, or that his points and professional experience bonuses had decreased instead of increased. His gaze was captivated by the crystal treasure chest, and he couldn't wait to open it. He opened the treasure chest, and clicked on it. As Zhao Yi opened it, a screen filled with 49 cards, arranged in a grid, appeared, from which he could select 7 cards. Excited, Zhao Yi scanned each card, his excitement growing with each new one, his heart pounding as he looked. After reviewing all 49 cards, Zhao Yi hesitated to make a choice immediately. He planned to review them again, fearing he might accidentally choose the wrong one and lose the treasure. The crystal chest, as Zhao Yi had expected, received a higher A rating. However, due to casualties, only 1 crystal card appeared in the chest. If no casualties had occurred, at least 2 would have appeared. It was a huge loss for Zhao Yi, but the remaining crystal card made him so excited that he wanted to hug someone and celebrate. After reviewing the 49 cards in the crystal chest for the second time, Zhao Yi took a deep breath and turned over the 7 cards he needed. These 7 cards were, 1 crystal card, 4-star, first level Space Mage recruitment scroll, 2 platinum cards, light attribute platinum staff, second level archer recruitment scroll 15, 3 gold cards, intermediate alchemy workshop, second level swordsman recruitment scroll 4, and magic archer class transfer scroll. A silver card, a level 1 earth mage recruitment scroll. This was the best treasure chest Zhao Yi had ever opened. It contained a Space Mage recruitment scroll, boasting a superb 4-star talent, capable of growing to level 7. Space Mages were rare, and 4-star talents were rare, making both incredibly rare. Now that such a rare 4-star Space Mage was about to join Zhao Yi's ranks, how could Zhao Yi not be thrilled? Once the Space Mage matured, even without a teleportation array, he could simply teleport a massive army through a portal, launching a massive attack wherever he pleased. An alchemy workshop. For days, Zhao Yi had been wanting one, even a basic one. He'd even opened a second basic smelter, a third basic market, but not even a basic alchemy workshop. Now, An intermediate alchemy workshop had suddenly appeared. Finally, a magic archer class transfer scroll revealed a special class hybrid between an archer and a mage, somewhat close to what Zhao Yi was looking for, but he had no plans to use it, preferring to wait for a more suitable class. A single crystal treasure chest filled Zhao Yi's heart with excitement. The 9 silver treasure chests he opened later, though containing some goodies, couldn't even amplify his excitement. As he opened the silver chest, Zhao Yi thought, I'll have to open the second crystal chest as soon as possible. It was almost certain that to achieve an A rating, at least 10,000 undead must be annihilated in a single battle. To ensure that a battlefield, already promoted to Zhaocheng, could withstand an attack of over 10,000 undead, Zhaocheng's population would need to reach over 30,000. Currently, Zhaocheng's population was only a little over 13,000. While the promoted city could accommodate 30,000, that number couldn't be reached in a single day. Zhaocheng's population would exceed its original population in a single day, a figure it couldn't sustain. Public morale and public security would undoubtedly plummet. A plan was needed to steadily increase Zhaocheng's population. There was no rush, and Zhao Yi's excitement gradually subsided. Create a new reader group. 376, 304, 579. Chapter 97 million points. After calming down, Zhao Yi reflected on a previous question. Yesterday morning's battle results showed 1 B rating and 9 D ratings, resulting in a 96% bonus to points and career experience. Why, then, had the B rating been upgraded to an A rating today, while the 9 D ratings remained unchanged, reducing their points and career experience bonuses to 73.6%? Something was wrong, but Zhao Yi couldn't figure out what. Perhaps it was a rule of the game world, most likely due to the promotion to third-class earldom. Putting the question aside for the moment, Zhao Yi stood up and walked towards the Lord's residence, continuing to browse the contents of the system panel. As he walked, name, Zhao Yi, lifespan, 24/150, occupation, third-class Earl level 22 archer, 2%, attributes, strength 45, constitution 45, agility 45, wisdom 59, free attribute points, 23, charisma, 9, command, 11/531, active skills, rapid fire, multi-arrow volley, tracking arrow, charged shot, armor-piercing arrow, legion skills, unwavering strike, unwavering as a mountain, wind, forest, fire, and mountain, invigorate, equipment. Over the past 10 days, Zhao Yi had learned several new skills, 2 for the archer class and 1 for the legion. The invigorate skill simply boosted morale. Of the archer class skills, Zhao Yi preferred Eagle Eye, a third-tier archer skill, which increased the archer's field of vision and was suitable for long-range sniping and observing the battlefield and commanding battles. Third-class earldom, Lord, Zhao Yi, territory area, 500 square kilometers, main city, Zhaocheng, a level 3 small city, 1 square kilometer, subordinates, Tishi village, second village, third village, population, 24, 695/50, 000, military force, 3051, public sentiment, 83, public security, 82, buildings, Lord's mansion, teleportation array, mage tower, market. Compared to first-class viscountum, a third-class earldom boasts a full 300 square kilometers of additional land. The upgraded Zhaocheng now covers 1 square kilometer, easily accommodating a population of 30,000. Crucially, upgrading to level 3 small city grants 3 additional subordinate towns. You can establish 3 subordinate towns within your territory and upgrade existing subordinate villages to towns, with no restrictions on town levels. Furthermore, after establishing a town, you can continue to build subordinate villages within it. A level 3 town can have 3 subordinate villages, while a level 1 town can have 9. A thought flashed through Zhao Yi's mind. He seemed to understand why his points and career experience bonuses decreased after receiving an A rating. It was certain that Zhao Yi's points and career experience bonuses would increase with the establishment of affiliated towns and their affiliated villages. A level 3 town could accommodate 3,000 people. As a main city, if you could eliminate all incoming undead every night without losing a single person, achieving a combat rating of B, you would receive a platinum treasure chest. Subsidiary towns should be a step down, with a combat rating of only C, but they would still receive gold treasure chests. Obtaining more treasure chests daily was the foundation for Zhao Yi's rapid territory growth, so he had to establish affiliated towns as soon as possible. There was another change to note. Previously, Zhao Yi had to personally confirm the establishment of an affiliated village at the location where it was to be built. Now, this can be done directly on the territory page. A simple territory map will appear. Simply mark an area on the map to establish an affiliated town or village of the corresponding level. Finally, Zhao Yi glanced at the points store. Last night, he had slain 17,937 undead, including 4 Tier 3 undead alone. Each level 30 undead kill earns 10,000 points. 4 Tier 3 undead, a higher proportion of Tier 2 and Tier 1 undead than usual, plus the bonus points from battle settlements, pushed Zhao Yi's points total over 1 million, reaching 1.04 million. 1.04 million points is a lot, enough to recruit 10,000 Tier 0 swordsmen, but also very few, only enough to recruit 3 Tier 2 priests. He needed to put these points to good use, recruiting enough personnel to support the construction of more annexed towns and villages, while also maintaining the rapid growth of his territory. Now that he had been promoted to an earldom, he could look for opportunities to use the 2 silver cards in his card pack, the 1000 civilian recruitment scroll. The best time to use them is around the time a next town is established. Recruiting 1000 civilian households requires 1000 professional households, and 2000 households means a minimum population of 9000. The annexed town can accommodate a minimum of 3000 people, with the remaining 6000 being handed over to Zhao Cheng. After browsing the points mall, Zhao Yi arrived at the Lord's mansion. The mansion still contained the original courtyard, measuring over 200 square meters. For Zhao Cheng, which now covers an area of 1 million square meters, this clearly doesn't fit the status of a lord. Currently, the most suitable feature in Zhao Cheng is the Mage Tower, but since Zhao Yi isn't a mage, he'll leave the Mage Tower to the mages. It seems the time has come to build a new Lord's mansion. We also need to consider whether to build Zhao Cheng's walls. While the town was still a city, metal fencing could still serve as walls. Now that it's a true city, it deserves sturdy walls. With the presence of earth mages, both the Lord's mansion and the walls can be built quickly. Zhao Yi returned to the Lord's mansion. Soon after, Cece and Elliot took their seats. The territory had successfully been promoted, and they were thrilled. Despite the busy schedule ahead, they would devote themselves to the development of the territory. Building the most powerful territory on the Origin continent, becoming a kingdom or even an empire, is the dream of many on the Origin continent. After breakfast, the meeting began. The first item discussed was the establishment of satellite towns. The territory had already expanded by 300 square kilometers, and control of these areas was crucial. The best way to do this was to establish satellite towns and villages throughout the territory. Zhao Yi had already chosen the first location for the satellite town, Joseph, previously destroyed by the undead. Joseph had already been a first-class barony before its fall. Before the undead army ravaged Joseph, the only first-class village in Joseph had already been deserted. The undead army would surely not pursue a village devoid of life, instead following the presence of life to pursue the fleeing Joseph. The village, untouched by the undead army, still had some infrastructure. At most, a small influx of undead would not destroy it. Furthermore, the location of a lord player's main city was generally suitable for development, at least up to a small city. Therefore, Zhao Yi chose to establish the first satellite town at the site of Joseph's former main city, significantly reducing the time required to establish it. Building a town is no easy task. It's impossible to build it in a day or two, it would take at least 6 days. Consider the development of the territory's main city from Zhao Village to Zhao Town. Of course, it's also possible to build a town in a short time frame, starting with a village and then expanding it into a town. Zhao Yi, Elliot, and Cece discussed how to build a town. Chapter 98, Stability. There are 2 options, building a town directly or building a village first and then expanding it into a town. Each has its pros and cons. The former allows for a faster construction of a town, but with thousands of people suddenly flooding into town, even officials with 3-star management talent cannot manage it all at once. The latter is slower, but its advantage lies in its stability, significantly reducing the likelihood of chaos and giving officials ample time to manage everything. It took Zhao Yi a full 12 days to upgrade his territory from a first-class viscount to a third-class earldom. A move from a third-class earldom to a second-class earldom would likely take several times that many days. This is primarily due to the presence of third-tier undead among the undead army. While a promotion to second-class earldom might not result in the appearance of fourth-tier undead, the proportion of third-tier undead would undoubtedly increase significantly. Zhao Yi has only a few methods to eliminate the third-tier undead, each of which carries a significant cost, especially for the Mage Tower, which requires a significant amount of time to accumulate energy, which Zhao Yi lacks. Add to that the fact that a difficult-to-kill third-tier Lich commands his territory, and the territory could be severely damaged if carelessly mishandled. Promotion to second-class earldom couldn't be rushed. Zhao Yi had plenty of time to build all 3 satellite towns. Furthermore, Zhao Yi often emphasized stability when managing his territory, requiring a high degree of confidence before advancing to territory. Therefore, Zhao Yi preferred to establish villages first and then upgrade to towns. Choosing the latter option, while still wanting to expedite the town's development, Cici offered a suggestion. My lord, with the territory's current strength, we can establish 3 satellite villages simultaneously. Once established, we can then expand each into a town. This would significantly reduce the time required to build the towns. Elliot agreed with Cici's suggestion, and Zhao Yi nodded, approving it immediately. There's actually a third option for establishing a town, expanding an existing satellite village into a town. There are indeed villages suitable for expansion, such as Tishi Village. However, Tishi Village also has its drawbacks. It's too close to the main city. As the main city continues to upgrade, the distance between the two will grow closer. Perhaps the main city will eventually encompass Tishi Village. On the Origin continent, there are mega-cities covering over 100 square kilometers. Another purpose of establishing satellite towns was to control the newly acquired territory. They must be as far away from the main city as possible, making previously established satellite villages unsuitable for expansion and upgrading. After deciding to build a village first and then expand it into a town, the 3 of them worked on a simple map to determine the locations of their second and third towns. Similar to the establishment of their first town in Joseph's territory, the locations of other players' main cities around the territory were suitable for establishing towns. Choosing the next 2 locations required a crucial consideration: the direction of the nighttime undead attack. They absolutely must not allow the 2 undead armies to merge. If the undead armies attacking the village and town merge and attack the town together, the town's strength can eliminate all the incoming undead with minimal effort. Crucially, if the undead attack the subsequent village, the undead will receive 1 less treasure chest the next day, and the points and class experience bonuses will also be reduced. Choosing the locations of towns and villages in a territory is relatively easy now, but as the territory expands, selecting the locations of towns and villages will become much more challenging. In the future, it will be inevitable to build a dedicated military stronghold to defend against the undead hordes attacking from one direction. This will reduce the need for a large garrison in the towns and villages behind it. While this will reduce the number of treasure chests obtained, it will increase their quality. These are matters that will need to be considered at an unknown time, but they only flash through Zhao Yi's mind. With the locations of the second and third towns determined, and the governors and garrisons appointed for each, the 3 continue to discuss other matters. For the time being, the walls of Xiaochang will continue to be made of metal fencing. The main problem is that the walls of the indigenous cities are not ordinary walls. Brick and stone walls existed before the undead plague, but after the plague, cities must use magical materials to defend against the undead hordes. Magical materials range from common to precious, and available in both large and small quantities. The base of the primary mage tower in the territory is constructed from slightly more precious magical materials. For small cities, the walls can be constructed using the most common and abundant magical materials. An attack from a 0th tier undead can only scratch the walls, and a 1st tier undead can't inflict much damage. To inflict significant damage, a 3rd tier undead is required. Alchemists can also paint runes on walls constructed from magical materials to enhance defense. It can be said that only cities with walls constructed from magical materials can be considered true cities on the Origin continent. As a major client of the Hill Chamber of Commerce, Zhao Yi possesses considerable wealth, but this is only compared to players on Blue Star. For the long-established nobles of the Origin continent's indigenous inhabitants, this is not the case. Perhaps a 3rd-tier Viscount family, with a legacy spanning hundreds of years, possesses more wealth than Zhao Yi. Those small indigenous cities are the descendants of earl families with centuries or even millennia of inheritance. To defend against the undead, Families often expend their wealth accumulated over hundreds or even thousands of years, building highly defensive walls that can prolong their existence against the undead plague. Of course, highly defensive walls alone aren't the only thing that can protect a city. Mage towers, formations, alchemical tools, high-level professionals, and more. The indigenous city's defenses against the undead are more numerous than even Blue Star players, who have only been on the origin continent for a month, could imagine. Zhao Yi's financial resources are limited, and Zhao City currently cannot afford to build city walls. Instead of wasting time on ordinary walls, it's better to stick with metal fences. He could spend more money to replace the ordinary metal fences with the lowest grade magic metal fences, which would have some effectiveness against first-tier undead. While city walls can't be built for now, a new lord's mansion will definitely need to be constructed. However, the mansion, a third-level village, is far from befitting Zhao Yi's status as a third-class earl. The mansion, located within the main city, doesn't need the strongest, just the most opulent. This task can be left to the Earth Mages. Zhao Yi's Earth Mages comprise the largest number, comprising nearly a quarter of his mages, totaling 73. These include a second-level Earth Mage and 2 other Earth Mages who moonlight as prospectors. With so many Earth Mages, many of them possessed artistic talent. Building a magnificent mansion befitting an earl like Zhao Yizhen would be no problem at all. Cease and Elliot didn't need to be involved in the construction of the mansion. All they had to do was send a message to the Mage Tower, and Joanna would dispatch the Earth Mages. Chapter 99 Ignates. Zhao Yi, Cece, and Elliot discussed each matter one by one. An hour had already passed, leaving only the last and most important matter, today's recruitment. For today's recruitment, the first thing to do was to determine the number of recruits. Construction of the 3 subsidiary towns would begin today, starting with the simultaneous construction of 3 roads and then the establishment of 3 villages. These 2 steps would take 2 days. There was no other area in the territory that needed population growth, only Zhaocheng, which currently had a population of over 13,000. It would be best if the population increase did not exceed 1/3 of the previous figure. This would allow for the fastest possible accommodation of the newcomers without significantly impacting public morale and public security. Therefore, it was decided that Zhaocheng would add 900 new households today, for an estimated population of around 4,000. These 900 households comprised 450 non-professional households and 450 professional households. 450 professionals would need to be recruited. Tier 0 professionals would undoubtedly be the largest group, but Tier 1 and Tier 2 professionals would also be recruited. With 1.04 million points, they couldn't afford Tier 2 priests, so those Tier 1 priests they could afford were essential. The final list on paper included 100 archers, 100 shield warriors, 100 spearmen, 19 swordsmen, 20 heavy cavalry, 30 archers, 30 assassins, 8 mages of each of the 5 types plus 1 space mage, a total of 41, 10 priests, and a number of officials, merchants, teachers, craftsmen, and farmers. First-tier professionals accounted for 3/10 of the total number of professionals, while second-tier professionals included 15 archers, 10 shield warriors, 10 spearmen, 4 swordsmen, 2 archers, and 4 assassins. Among the officials, 3 had 3-star management talent and 8 had 2-star management talent. The latter only required 1,000 points to recruit 1 person, while the former required 10,000. With the recruitment confirmed, the meeting officially concluded. Cease and Elliot departed to attend to their respective matters. Zhao Yi also had much to attend to. Before leaving the Lord's mansion, Zhao Yi instructed his maid, Eve, to go to the Mage Tower and inform Miss Joanna that Zhao City needed a new Lord's mansion and was preparing to welcome a space mage. While the guides were gathering, Zhao Yi went to the market first to assign tasks to Benson and Gino. Last night, the territory battled the undead across the land, slaying nearly 18,000, especially in the main city battlefield, which consumed a significant amount of military supplies. While the remaining supplies could last for 2 or 3 nights, Zhao Yi felt a sense of crisis, fearing a sudden change in the rules of the game, requiring the main city and its affiliated villages to prepare sufficient supplies. With limited funds to support his territory's advancement, Zhao Yi was reluctant to part with his light attribute platinum staff, but he had to sell it to raise funds for territory development. Zhao Yi could also raise funds by opening treasure chests. Without the support of powerful factions, He could only rely on points to directly exchange for supplies, or exchange points for items of slightly higher value, then exchange them for cash to purchase supplies. The light attribute Platinum Staff was Zhao Yi's most valuable item. Even if he didn't win the Platinum Staff, today's 9 silver treasure chests, along with those he had opened previously, had allowed him to amass a considerable amount of silver equipment. Some of the silver equipment was given to the second-tier professionals to improve their combat power. The remaining equipment could be sold for a considerable sum, at least to support the territory's normal development for the next 2 days. Treasure chests would be open tomorrow and the day after tomorrow to exchange for gold, so there was no shortage of money. Benson and Gino were given the Platinum Staff to put up for auction, and a list of supplies was drawn up for them. Besides replenishing depleted military supplies, it also included magical metal fencing for Zhao Chang's new city walls and supplies for the construction of ancillary towns. As for daily necessities, Zhao Yi didn't even need to ask. The Hill Chamber of Commerce knew that Zhao Yi, a major client, was a lord in need of territory development, and they would give him large amounts of daily necessities after every transaction. These gifts were so abundant that they could hardly be used up. Warehouses in the main city and the surrounding villages were stockpiled with supplies, enough for the people of the territory for at least 6 months. Despite the large stockpile, Zhao Yi didn't abandon the self-sufficiency of his territory. With the addition of a first-tier nature mage, even the common people were able to eat the cheapest fresh vegetables. Vegetables are primarily grown in Zhaochang and delivered to the surrounding villages by horse-drawn carriage. Whether professional or civilian, families generally don't cook, instead making soups from vegetables. On the origin continent, cooking is done in iron woks, and Cook Kelly has a simple technique. In the territories, cooking is generally only found in the Lord's mansion. While Zhao Yi was busy at the market, Eve arrived at the Mage Tower. This was her 5th visit, and she was familiar with the area. The tower spirits saw Eve approaching and opened the tower's doors without her having to speak. Eve then ascended to the 5th floor. Usually by this time, Joanna, reminded by the tower spirit, would have finished her training, dressed, and waited for Eve to arrive. Lady Joanna, the master said Zhao Chang needs a new lord's mansion and is preparing to welcome a space mage, Eve said respectfully. Joanna nodded slightly and said, I understand. You may return. After Eve left, Joanna had a room cleaned up for the new space mage. The lord had specifically given this order, evidently proving this space mage's talent was considerable. Joanna then summoned the Earth Mages from the Mage Tower to discuss the construction of a new lord's mansion. The Earth Mages, known for their expertise in building houses, quickly engaged in a fierce argument, each refusing to yield. Each Earth Mages wanted to build their own version of the mansion. It would be a truly remarkable honor for the Lord to reside in one they had envisioned. Joanna was helpless, so she had the Earth Mages sketch their own designs first, and then the Lord would personally select one. Only then did the Mage Tower quiet down, and the Earth Mages each found a spot to draw, wary of others peeking and stealing their ideas. Meanwhile, Zhao Yi had already begun today's recruitment near the teleportation array. As the array lit up, a full 900 families emerged one after another. The last to emerge were the 4-star Space Mage Ignaz and his family. Space Mage Ignaz, reporting to the Lord. Ignaz, welcome aboard. I pledge my life to the Lord. Ignaz, your new home is ready, but I think you'd prefer to stay in the Mage Tower. Yes, Lord. Although Ignaz's special talent is as high as 4 stars, he's currently only at the 1st level and still yearns for the Mage Tower, hoping to one day own one. Being able to cultivate there now is quite rewarding. Because of the Mage Tower, Ignaz's loyalty has increased by 2 points. Name, Ignaz. Gender, male. Age, 20. Occupation, Space Mage. Talent, Space Mage 4. Command 1. Skills, Portable Space, Spatial Tier, Teleport, Spatial Barrier, Loyalty. 82. Salary, 3 low-grade magic crystals month. The 1-star command talent is negligible. With 4 special skills, ignoring portable space, the other 3 are attack, movement, and defense. He's truly capable of fighting, defending, and running. It's said that space mages are formidable for their talent and level, capable of engaging higher-level enemies. Now, I have a very rare 4-star space mage under my command, and my territory's strength has skyrocketed. Chapter 100 Productivity. Game Rules Patch. Territory population and main city population must both meet the requirements before a territory can be promoted. With 900 families joining the territory, the total population has reached 28,867, not far from the 50,000 required for promotion to second-class earldom. From now on, with only 4,000 people added daily, the 50,000 population will be reached in about 5 days. While the population has reached the requirement, the territory's strength is still insufficient and requires more time to build up. With the 450 professionals recruited today, the territory's military strength has reached 3,501. Professionals have consistently accounted for between 1/8 and 1/9 of the total population. Of the 3,500 professionals, there are exactly 888 first-tier professionals, and the number of second-tier professionals has exceeded 100, reaching 118. Initially, Zhao Yi and Elliot reorganized the territory's army, focusing on the zero-tier professionals. Each squad consists of 9 people. 3 squads, plus 2 assassins, 1 cleric, 1 earth mage, and 2 platoon leaders and deputy platoon leaders, make up a total of 33 people per platoon. 3 platoons, 1 mage squad with 2 mages each of the 4 types, 8 men in total, 1 archer squad with 9 men, and a company with a captain and deputy captain, for a total of 118 men. A standard company, if only the captain and deputy captain are first-tier professionals and the rest are zero-tier professionals, is the garrison of a first-tier village. If the captain and deputy captain are second-tier professionals and the rest are first-tier professionals, it becomes the territory's main combat force. With the increase in first-tier professionals, Zhao Yi and Elliot have already reorganized some of them. The 3 planned satellite towns, once completed, will generally have a population of over 3,000. With a population of 3,000, at least 300 professionals are needed, forming 2 garrisons, with the remaining numbers to be filled by the main combat force. The undead hordes attacking the towns will undoubtedly include a significant number of first-tier undead, with a high probability of second-tier undead. Therefore, the garrisons cannot be solely stationed in the towns. As the number of second-tier professionals increases, they can be used as a foundation to form the territory's elite forces. Today's recruitment was over, but Zhao Yi couldn't relax. Much remained to be done. Explosive arrows were the most consumed military supplies in every battle. Perhaps even those in the Hill Chamber of Commerce who were responsible for dealing with Zhao Yi were secretly cursing him as a spendthrift. No indigenous city would consume explosive arrows so much. These weren't arrows being shot out, they were money. Even the Earl families, with centuries or even millennia of history, would feel the pinch of Zhao Yi's territory's explosive arrow expenditure. They would rather recruit large numbers of cannon fodder than spend money on explosive arrows. However, this was an unavoidable expense for Zhao Yi's territory and other player territories. Blue Star players had only been on the origin continent for 30 days, and while their development had been rapid, the gap between them and the indigenous population was still significant. To defend against the nightly undead attacks, they needed to purchase military supplies like explosive arrows and alchemical bombs to boost their combat power. Explosive arrows were essential, and Zhao Yi had been thinking about how to reduce their financial expenditure. Producing their own explosive arrows was the best option. It's best to achieve self-sufficiency so that future conflicts with the indigenous people won't be affected. There are 2 ways to craft explosive arrows. One is manual crafting by an alchemist, allowing apprentice alchemists to create basic explosive arrows. However, manual crafting is extremely slow, so slow that Zhao Yi couldn't bear to devote the territory's only 7 alchemists to crafting them. The other method is mass production in an alchemy workshop. An alchemy workshop is equivalent to a modern assembly line factory on Blue Star, requiring only a certain number of alchemists to rapidly produce explosive arrows in large quantities. When players first opened a basic alchemy workshop from a treasure chest, Zhao Yi was envious, wondering if he could open one himself, just a basic one. While a basic alchemy workshop could be found in a silver treasure chest, Zhao Yi now receives 9 silver treasure chests daily, having not seen a single basic alchemy workshop for the past 29 days. Until this morning, he finally opened a gold card, intermediate alchemy workshop, from a crystal treasure chest. The production efficiency of an intermediate alchemy workshop is 10 times higher than that of a primary alchemy workshop. A primary alchemy workshop operating at full capacity can produce up to 1,000 primary explosive arrows per day, while an intermediate alchemy workshop can produce 10,000. 1,000 per day equals 360,000 per year, 360 days, a significant number. This is primarily due to the relative simplicity of crafting primary explosive arrows, a mere iron tier alchemical item. It's important to note that an alchemy workshop isn't limited to explosive arrows. Most other alchemical items can be created with just the blueprints, raw materials, and personnel. These magical equipment are also alchemical items and can be crafted in an alchemy workshop. However, compared to a simple primary explosive arrow, crafting a piece of iron tier equipment is several times more complex. While 1,000 primary explosive arrows can be produced per day, the production of even the simplest iron tier equipment would likely be limited to no more than 100 pieces. Due to Zhao Yi's rapid growth and high demand for explosive arrows, a primary alchemy workshop is unable to meet the needs of Zhao Yi's territory. In other indigenous cities, the production capacity of a primary alchemy workshop is sufficient to support the daily needs of a small, third-level city. The primary smelter will be placed in the iron mine area. Zhao Yi intends to place the intermediate alchemy workshop directly within Zhaocheng. This matter was discussed and the location was determined during the post-breakfast meeting. The upgraded Zhaocheng covers an area of 1 million square meters. The ratio of population to main city area has remained unchanged since the third-level village. Furthermore, new buildings in Zhaocheng will primarily be 2- and 3-story. Beyond the residential areas, more land will be available, making it easy to accommodate an intermediate alchemy workshop. Zhao Yi currently has 7 alchemists under his command, 2 first-level alchemists and 5 zero-level alchemists. A primary smelting plant requires a first-level alchemist and 3 apprentice alchemists. The alchemy workshop currently only has 1 first-level alchemist and 2 apprentice alchemists, which isn't enough to run a primary alchemy workshop at full efficiency, let alone an intermediate one. This time, Zhao Yi is serious about recruiting alchemists in Rhoda City. To prevent any unforeseen circumstances, Zhao Yi will not recruit alchemists with a mage's class rank of 2nd or higher. They must be below 2nd. Most of these mages are at level 0, with only a few with greater talent or older age reaching first-level alchemists. Once the alchemy workshop officially opens, its first task will be to mass-produce primary explosive arrows to meet the territory's demand. Once enough primary explosive arrows are produced daily, there's still time to craft black iron-grade equipment. Zhao Yi's goal is to ensure all level 0 professionals are equipped with black iron-grade equipment. Once the alchemy workshop becomes proficient in these relatively simple alchemical creations, intermediate explosive arrows and bronze-grade equipment will be produced. Missing manufacturing blueprints can be purchased at the market, as can most raw materials. Zhao Yi's territory already covers 500 square kilometers. 2 earth mages and prospectors have discovered numerous mineral deposits, but only a few are suitable for mining. Far from satisfying the alchemy workshop's demand for various raw materials, 500 square kilometers is still too small. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.